Welcome to the Jehovih Chronicles with your host, Cosmon Cow.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me hear you. I gotta sleep with one eye open. You been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach. Paranoid, yeah. I won't let them hear you. They won't see me hear. I gotta sleep with one eye open. You been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know I just wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach. Paranoid, yeah. I can't let them carry. They won't see me carry. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with purchase, now that hair right now these veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, you been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach. Paranoid, yeah. I won't let them carry. They won't see me carry. I gotta sleep with one eye open, you been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach. Paranoid, yeah. I can't let them carry. They won't see me carry.
Lord, see, I glossed through it, shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the feds, giving names. Who gon' feed my family if they take me out the game? Keep one in the head and one eye open, that ain't change. I'm quick to catch a body. When I shoot, he shoot, I know bro shooting right beside me. Them hollow tips go through the wall and then they hit his body. Them hollow tips go through the wall and then they hit his body.
I gotta sleep with one eye open, you been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach. Paranoid, yeah. I won't let them carry. They won't see me carry. I gotta sleep with one eye open, you been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach. Paranoid, yeah. I can't let them carry. They won't see me carry.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway. Yeah, we had street dreams. Street dreams. Put my life on the line for this shit, we had street dreams. Street dreams. Yeah, we had street dreams. Guess what? Yeti's on my chest, whoa. All about my check, whoa. Nigga, this ain't checkers, this is chess, whoa. What went in my head? Cause I played it up this fast, whoa. Look, these bullets generous. Gangsta and a gentleman. Feeling like I'm SP. I don't deal with middlemen. Bosses, I'm on bosses. Chrome hearts mixed with crosses. Smoking palm leaves while reflecting on these losses. Street dreams turn to nightmares into street dreams. Street dreams. Put my life on the line for this shit, we had street dreams. Street dream. Yeah, we had
Dreams
street
of being
dream.
Pablo, dreams of being Chapo. Never expected this though. Lost a couple homies, stuff fucking with my man too. I ain't never cried so much in a year. Skipping red lights, nigga, you won't leave me here. Mind playing tricks on me, we make it clear. 40 stuff in the mind clear, ain't no fear. Street dreams always turning nightmares. Street dreams always turning nightmares.
Street dream. Street dream. Put my life on the line for this shit. We had street dream. Street dream. Yeah, we had street dream.
All right. We here. I need y'all to drop a fire emoji first and foremost if you guys can hear me. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Drop those fire emojis, family. We need to know everybody's on time and can hear. All right, we got a few fire emojis. We got the brother Chris Harris is in the building. Rootword is in the building. We ready for some heat. Like I said, if you guys did not hear the early message, my channel is flagged. I will not be able to go live for some time. So we had to make some adjustments. Needless to say, obviously, you see I'm on A1's channel. The debate is still going down. Chris Harris is ready. Rootwords is ready. We here. This is a public debate. It's been streamed on multiple platforms at this given time. These brothers came to put in some work. And before we even let you brothers get into your 5-minute intros and get right into it, anybody going first or we flipping a coin? What we doing? Y'all can unmute
I think
yourself.
we're flipping the coin that we already agreed that we just sticking to the rules.
What's the rules?
I thought we always flip the coin. I just say we agreed, but we still just, you know what I'm saying? And we don't got to flip it, man. Shit.
What we doing? Who going first, nigga?
I mean, Friday said you would go first. I mean, yeah, Friday said he would go first. I mean, he's the one making the claim that slavery is fake. Don't you want to go first?
If we agree to it, cool. If not, we can flip a coin. It's up to you, my brother.
You go first.
There it is.
All right, no coin it is.
Okay, I figured it out.
Right,
That's not
Rootwords,
my.
you go first.
That's
We'll
not
be right
my
back in
internet
just a
doing
second.
that.
You guys 30 seconds to prepare.
That's
we'll
not
get into
me
your
doing
5-minute
that.
introduction.
That's not me.
And then you will have a 10-minute round. These are 10-minute rounds, family. Rootwords. 10-minute rounds.
Gang in the
10
minutes. This gonna be good.
Chris Harris. 10-minute rounds.
I haven't seen
plus your 5-minute introduction and a 5-minute rebuttal at the end of each round. That'll make it a totality of 15-minute rounds, including your rebuttal. Okay?
All right. Now I haven't figured out how to put a poll in the chat yet, but I'll figure it out. And once I do, I'm gonna put a thing who y'all think won. But before we get into this, right? Because this is a actual interesting topic, and it can be approached in a myriad of different ways, right? Because it just says, is slavery fake? But what about slavery is fake? Is just the story about it fake? How it's being told to certain people fake? That wasn't, really specified in the debate. You dig what I'm saying? So it's a myriad of ways that you could attack this, yay and nay. I personally believe slavery is real. Like, there are people who were enslaved. And when you're saying slavery, I'm saying as a historical way of being. You dig what I'm talking about? Like, people have been forced into slavery for a long time, to my understanding, since man could put pressure on another man to induce him to do something he don't want to do. So if y'all believe slavery was fake, that's just the name of the topic, however you want to look at it. But if you believe slavery was fake, hit me with a 1 in the chat. If you believe slavery was real, hit me with a 2 in the chat. You dig what I'm talking about? I just kind of want to get a gauge on what everybody is thinking. You know what I mean? And then be objective and be fair, right? And see if you still have the same belief of whether it's real or it's fake at the end of the debate, right? And which one ever one swayed your understanding or didn't sway your understanding, you know what I mean, would have won. You know what I mean? But it's just, if you believe slavery was fake, hit me with a 1. If you believe slavery was real, hit me with a 2. Right? We're gonna go into this with open minds. It was, it's crazy. The topic is an ill topic. You know what I mean? So I want to see how Rootword attacked this, because he is in the affirmative that slavery was fake. Chris Harris is in the negative. He's going to say slavery was real. You know what I mean? This is going to be a hard battle for Rootword, I think, just on how it's worded. It could have been worded better. You know what I mean? But let's see what he's going to do. Let's get it, y'all. Let's cook.
10-minute rounds. So we're going to be right back in 30 seconds, family. We'll be right back.
Let's go.
Talking about Chris.
Yeah, I keep getting muted for some odd reason. I'm not saying you're doing it. Hey, are we camming up here?
Yeah, turn your camera on, Root. Yeah, we definitely.
I'll turn it on, but I ain't about to keep my cam on, man. My hair ain't even done, man. Looking like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing like I'm ashamed.
Soldier up, man. Camera's on, bro.
See, I'll turn it on though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, just damn, man. It's just one of you.
This gonna be a classic debate right here. So they gonna want to see y'all faces. Right here. So, it ain't like nothing. All right. So your time. I'm setting your time up right now. Let me go to my timer. So everything is locked and loaded. I'm gonna go ahead and run your 5-minute introduction in your round concurrent. So you'll have instead of 10 minutes, you will have 15 minutes. Rootword. Are you clear on that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Time start whenever you speak.
Fuck it, man. Fuck it, man. All right, I'm starting off right now. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you're clear. You're super clear. You're good.
Oh, okay, there we go. Hello, salutes to all. This debate is about slavery. Is slavery true, or is there a void to be filled in history. Was slavery reconstructed into her story? Is there another story out there that's in our face? Slavery versus servant. If slavery fake, fill in the void. Prove it, root words. Prove it now. So slavery was told to us as slavery is told to us as history. If I'm claiming that slavery is fake, I have to have categories to prove the facts to prove that I have evidence of the reconstructed history of the Aboriginal people of America. Now, first, I'm gonna get into language and witchcraft and the reconstructed history through words, and I'm gonna separate it. And then I'm gonna separate the word slavery in 6 parts. And show that it has nothing to do with work, servitude, blah blah blah, etc. etc. I'm gonna show that there's no such thing as the institution of slavery. There's no such thing. But I'm gonna show the institution of slavery. Let's go. First, the institution of slavery. Here it go, right here. It's the dictionary of the English language. See, this is the first dictionary that nobody can really get you for. This is the first dictionary of the English language. And it plainly says the dictionary of the English language in which the words are deduced from their originals, aboriginals, illustrated in the different significance of the best writers. The history of the language of the English language, which words are prefixed. So I'm telling you that this language that we in is full of game, and it's gonna run. It's an illusion. It's illustrated. It's fake. It's false. That's where we fail at. It's through witchcraft and everything. But first, we'll get to the word slavery, since he said I don't do definitions and everything. But you know, slave is a person who was chattel property of another. From Old Slav, directly from the Middle Ages, Middle Latin, that's Middle Time, Medieval Latin, slave, source of Italian, Slavic, East Slavic, Spanish, East Slavo, originally, Slav. So to use as a secondary sense because of the many Slavs. Slavs that was sold into slavery by conquering people. Now, I just want to stop right there. I still got to prove slavery fake, but I'm just proving right there that the Slav, the people that they're calling slaves, the ones that they're calling slaves, them some Europeans. Them ain't black folks. Them ain't aboriginals. Them ain't West Side Africa. Now, here goes the other part of the definition. Old English, wealth, blah, blah, blah. Britain also began to use the sense of serf. Serf. Now, we're going to stop right there, and I'm going to show y'all what a serf is. Show y'all what a serf is real quick, okay? Slavery in medieval Europe, because I ain't talking about whatever y'all, the slavery. I'm talking about slavery y'all around. Y'all know, because y'all be talking about that white slavery, black slavery, green slavery, purple slavery. Okay, slavery in the Middle East was widespread. North Africa was highly interconnected trade network in the Mediterranean Sea. So you didn't have to go and jump across the oceans and everything. So I'm just taking y'all here just to go blah, 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 blah. As European kingdoms translated into a feudal society, different legal categories of unfree persons, serfdoms. This is slavery back then. It wasn't called slavery. It was called serfdoms. Serfdoms was the status of peasants. Peasants, not slaves. There was no such thing as slavery back then when the Slavs were slaves. It was serfdom because we know the serfs are the serf people, are the servants, are the slaves. But okay, unlike slaves, let's just get the right here. Unlike slaves, serfs could not be bought, sold, traded individually. So anything in the medieval times was a serf. A serf. No slavery. You could, let's separate them right there. That's what I'm separating right there off rip. I'm just separating them two right there off rip. So now that we understand that Britain also began to use the sense of serf in 850, Moors, West Side, Moors, because we wasn't having slaves. We was having people that were serfs that we couldn't sell or do none of that stuff. This, which means slave, apparently connected to Dache, pre-Aryan inhabitant of Indian, Gloss Dictionary, 1785, under Negro. The blackamoor figurative used. Did you see this? In 1785, this is the first time that the word serf was used as slave to the Negro. But from the 13, 14, 15, 16, 1700, that wasn't us. That wasn't us, according to etymology, dictionary. It wasn't us. It was them Slavs over there that was not slaves. They was in servitude, according to the Middle Ages. But let's keep on going, though. I'm just trying to show that right there that the Slavs wasn't even slaves. They were serfs. And when they put the word serf to the servant, separated them. Because, you know, when you're dealing with a servant, you're dealing with a serf. You're dealing with a Slav. You're dealing with a Negro. You're dealing with a blackamoor. And you're dealing with chattel. These are words we're going to go through. And then we're going to go through what's happened in slavery. Well, let's just see what happens in slavery a little bit. Let me see if I'm doing this right. Yeah. Kidnapping. Atlantic slave trade outfitted European slaves was regularly triangle route and the Middle Passage. I'm just trying to go to the point to show you what slavery is about. I'm not about to read all these stories. I'm just about to say that mainly the Portuguese, British, and Spanish, Dutch slave traders and others captured directly by the slave traders of the coastal raids. So right there, I'm just showing that slavery consists of kidnapping. It don't consist of work. It consists of
8 minutes.
Huh?
8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh shit! Damn, that's too much. Kidnapping and slavery. Slavery consists of kidnapping.
That's not my video, y'all.
Let me make sure I say this. Killings.
That's not my
in Africa.
Stopping like that.
Let me make sure I do this right. Jesus, man. Forms of slavery, multiple and that is not it. That is not it. Death toll from the slave trade. The African Holy Coast, 60 million dead at the hands of white Christians. So now you have to have murder and kidnapping. That's slavery. 60 million dead. 60 million dead just by crossing the ocean. So now we're dealing with kidnapping and murder. No type of servitude. Now we're going to get to ask, was there rape along with this slavery stuff? It's probably impossible to provide the definition sense of the frequency, and the number is unavailable. Evidence of British and American vessels suggests that it was fairly common to rape women. So I'm just trying to show y'all right here what slavery, no type of servitude. Now we're going to get to ask, was there rape along with this slavery stuff? It's probably impossible to provide the definition sense of the frequency, and the number is unavailable. Evidence of British and American vessels suggests that it was fairly common to rape women. So I'm just trying to show y'all right here what slavery is and what they're saying we went through. They're saying we went through kidnappings, killings, raping of men and women. Now let's get to the slave breeding. This is slavery right here that they're trying to say that we went through. Slave breeding in the slave states. Now they're trying to say United States, and they divided families up. So you telling me that we was going to sit here and let people breed us, take our families, fuck our fucking family members? And I'm just getting to the definition of these words and what slavery means and what chattel property and all that stuff means. And we ain't never went through this stuff that they talking about. We ain't never went through our families getting separated, chattel property. I mean all that other stuff. It even says slavery. Come on, man. Somebody gonna take my son and my wife and my kid, and my mama and sell them in front of me and then tell me to go work for them? That is fake. Nobody will ever do that in the history of mankind. You're gonna crash all the way out. That's what I'm showing. The United States split enslaved black families up. Torture in the slaves of the United States. I'm just showing you evidence of what slavery is. And here's the best one of all. Here we go. Slaves in the United States. Let's go over here. Slaves in the United States during the era of slavery generally did not receive wages for their labor. Work was awfully uncompensated, and they was forced to toil under brutal conditions. So see, when I'm looking at slavery, I'm looking at kidnapping, killing, raping women, children, slave breeding, separate families, selling family members and kids into face, torture, and no pay. Now, when I look at the words Slav, slave, and Negro and all these words, that's a worker. And that's what I'm going to keep going. That is a worker. When you're dealing with slavery, hard work, servitude, bondage. It's the Latin word for service. It don't mean slave. It means serve. Serve. Vudofastos. I'm just showing you all these words because we're about to look them up so I can show you that none of them is dealing with kidnapping, killing, rape of women and men, slave breeding, separating families, selling family members and kids in their face, torture, and no pay. No man in their right man will go through that and let their family go through that. It's all a narration, and this is where you're going to find all these narrations at. This is the institution, and this is going to be my only weak part. I was just trying to show y'all through witchcraft and wordplay and lies. English dictionary is how they got us, through wordplay. And I'm showing you how to unplay wordplay. Would you let somebody rape your motherfucking wifey and sell your kid off and tell your mom you ain't ever gonna see her again because she's gonna sell you to some cotton farmers? And then if you say no, they gonna beat you half to death? Now that's slavery. Now let's see if we could prove any of that the next rounds, because I know my round getting short. I was just plainly trying to separate what a slave is. And then we're going to get to the next round, and I'm going to show y'all pictures and what slavery really is about and a lot of other things. But I'm trying to separate slavery. There is no proof of nobody getting kidnapped, killed, raped, slave breeding, separating families, torture, and damn sure we ain't working for no goddamn pay. There's no proof of that nowhere. The only institution of slavery comes from this dictionary. And watch them books he about to show y'all. That's the only place the institution of slavery is in novels.
3 minutes and 20 seconds. 3 minutes and 20
seconds. In narrations. And this is just my first round. I don't know if I did a good job at capturing the brain, but I'm a word person. And everybody know they lied to us and tricked us through words. So according to what I just showed, you can't say these words. Oh, that serf is a slave. A person in a bond. Here, I'm gonna even show you the word bondage real quick. My fault. I didn't even go through all my words. I still got 3 minutes. Bondage. Bondage. See, I'm going to definitions. A legal condition of a serf or a slave. See, a slave was a European serf. There's no such thing as slavery. It's all serfdom. There's no such thing as slavery. And then when you get to a bond, it's an arrangement of a covenant. Now we're going to go to law. Now we go into law. This is Black's Law Dictionary of what personal property is, because they say, oh, you're somebody's personal property. Personal property is being movable property as personal action, assets, chatels. Nobody in America is a slave. They chatels. Contracts is dealing with contracts and covenants. Credit, demand, disability, franchise, injury, judgment, knowledge, law, liability, liberty, notice, property, private, personal, property, replevant, representatives, rights, security, service, served on, servitude. No such thing as slavery, man. No such thing as this torturous shit that they said me and my fucking family members went through. Where's it at? Where's it at? What did they say we went through? No such thing as sex breeding and torturing, killing us and getting kidnapped from Africa and getting kidnapped in the Americas. That shit is fake. They blend in words on us. And this is just my first time just trying to show people word magic and word play, how the word serve, surf, all of them is the same word. I showed you where the word surf is at right here. When you looking at the word surf, 1 second. How long I got left? Like 1 minute left?
Yeah, so 1 minute, exactly.
Okay, there you go. When we get to feudal, when they said they was feudal vassals is dealing with estates. This is Black's Law Dictionary of what personal property is, because they say, oh, you're somebody's personal property. Personal property is being movable property as personal action, assets, chatels. Nobody in America is a slave. They chatels. Contracts is dealing with contracts and covenants. Credit, demand, disability, franchise, injury, judgment, knowledge, law, liability, liberty, notice, property, private, personal, property, replevant, representatives, rights, security, service, served on, servitude. No such thing as slavery, man. No such thing as this torturous shit that they said me and my fucking family members went through. Where's it at? Where's it at? What did they say we went through? No such thing as sex breeding and torturing, killing us and getting kidnapped from Africa and getting kidnapped in the Americas. That shit is fake. They blend in words on us. And this is just my first time just trying to show people word magic and word play, how the word serve, surf, all of them is the same word. I showed you where the word surf is at right here. When you looking at the word surf, 1 second. How long I got left? Like 1 minute left?
Yeah, so 1 minute, exactly.
Okay, there you go. When we get to feudal, when they said they was feudal vassals is dealing with estates and land in the Middle Ages. So when is this dealing with any slavery? See, every name they put to slavery, I look it up and it has nothing to do with slavery. It has something to do with servants and workers. And that's all I can show is, look, man, through words, there's no such thing as slavery unless you're going to accept that your family went through this shit. That's the best I can say on my first round right there. Here we go. And a serf and a serve. A serf, a servant, a serving man. That's all it is a man with Jesus. What else you want me to say on just on word playing witchcraft? You got to get out these spells and understand no such thing as a slave unless it's a European person. That's it. That's all a slave is. And I digress off that part right there. That's just my first round on words. And I'm about to get way more wicked. That's just my first round on words. I digress off that.
All right, that's time. That's time. Shout out to Rootwords, man. Shout out to Rootwords. Chris Harris is going in for his next round. You got a 5-minute introduction and a 5-minute rebuttal. You have a total of 20 minutes for your round, brother. Go ahead. You're muted, big bro. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Chris.
First thing we want to do is we want to thank Rootwords for acquiescing the entire debate by showing that people were enslaved. See, he's trying to play grammar gymnastics with the word slave. The way they used it then is not the way we use it today. That is, in fact, a fallacy of etymology. He showed 3 times where the word serfdom, in fact, also means slave. And not to mention, he capitulates his talking points when he sits up there and says that is slavery fake. That's the name of the debate, is slavery fake. So now he's trying to say that Slavic people are fake. So if he understands definitions like he says that he does, he should easily be able to understand the context in which the debate that we're having here. The slavery we're talking about is chattel slavery, and we're going to prove that today. So let's take a look at my argument here. Let me get this up. Let's take a look at my argument here. What I'm placing on him, and the word is chattel, not chattel. It's chattel. Let's take a look here. Let's get this thing started. Can we start my time? My screen is. Okay, there we go. All right. So the name of this debate is slavery fake? He's already proven that slavery was not fake. He has admitted 3 times in this opening round that certain people were enslaved. This is not about Black people. Well, necessarily. This is not about Slavic people. This is not about grammar gymnastics. This is about slavery. You have admitted 3 times in your opening that slavery happened. So is slavery fake? To put it, no. You've already admitted that. Slavery in America was not fake, and unfortunately, there's no historian alive that would argue one of the most well-documented or recorded events in history. You cannot say slavery was in fact faked or a myth simply because you say so. So let's look at what he's been doing this entire time. He's been begging the question. He's been begging the question of what are the conditions of slavery? What is slavery? Kidnapping, we're going to prove that. Rape, we're going to prove that. Beating, we're going to prove that. He actually gave us the quantifiers on what slavery is and what he's looking for by begging the question. Now, I'm pretty sure the Apple audience doesn't know what begging the question is, but I gave you definition because he does understand definition, so he say. And begging the question is the logical fallacy that occurs when the premise of an argument assumes the truth of the conclusion rather than supporting it. So not only did he not support his position, he agreed with mine that slavery in fact existed amongst Slavic people. But let's see what else he's going to be doing. He's guilty of something called historical negationism. Now, historical negationism, also called historical denialism, is the falsification or distortion of the historical record. It should not be conflated with historical revisionism, a broader term that extends to newly evidenced, fairly reasoned academic reinterpretations of history. Now, in attempting to revise the past, historical negationism acts as an illegitimate historical revisionism by using techniques admissible in proper historical discourse, such as we're having today, such as presenting known forged documents as genuine, inventing ingenious but implausible reasons for distrusting genuine documents, as he's doing, attributing conclusions to books and sources that report opposite, like he did. Manipulating statistical series to support the given point of view and deliberately mistranslating text. All things in which he's going to be doing today. This is why he's begging the question. So let's see what he just did this entire time. It's called a red herring. Now, what he tried to do, before I give the definition, was make it look like he was coming to a conclusion, giving you all the facts. You know, he was trying to use all that vocabulary, not pronouncing the words correctly, mistranslating the definition, not understanding the function of the definition. He read 3 times where serfdom also means slavery. He also read where the Slavic people were carried into slavery, capitulating his point in this entire debate. So what he's guilty of, what is a red herring? You know, because the Abbo's got to know, you know, he's the human dictionary, right? A red herring is a logical fallacy that involves introducing irrelevant information to distract from the main topic of a conversation. Here, let me explain this to you. We are having a historical argument. I'll be using history to validate my point. He is trying to use definitions. That is a grammatical argument. All right. This is not a religious conversation where you're introducing arguments such as witchcraft into the debate. We're going to be discussing things such as the Emancipation Proclamation, the 13th Amendment, the Emancipation Proclamation that dealt with the Reconstruction period, because there was actually 2 drafts drawn. We're going to be discussing slave auctions, all things you say that did not happen. You laid down the quantifiers for the debate and you actually hung yourself. So what is a red herring? A red herring fallacy is a logical fallacy that involves introducing irrelevant information to distract from the main topic of conversation. That entire spiel in his opening round not only hung him, but most of it, such as the grammatical errors that he made, have nothing to do with the debate. We are having a historical debate. We're having a historical discourse. So let's see. My argument is simple. Slavery happened in America, bottom line. It's not a myth, nor was it a concocted story put together by Europeans. I'm going to be using primary sources to prove that slavery was not a myth, nor fabrication used to deceive the minds of people across the entire world. In all fairness, the fabrication will be coming from my opponent tonight, as you all just saw, because he capitulated by admitting slavery happened amongst the Slavic people. So what is a primary source? A primary source is a document, artifact, or other source information that was created at the same time of the event or by someone directly involved in the event. Primary sources can include historical and legal documents, check. Eyewitness accounts, check. Results of experiments, statistical data, check. Creative writing, check. Art objects, check. Audio and visual recordings and speeches, check. So let me give you guys an example of an so-called primary source here. Now, this is the receipt for a sale of a slave by the name of Jane, who was 18, and her son Henry at the age of 1, and all her future children, right? This is dated to December 20th, 1849. Now, he sat up there and said, you got to show people being sold. Well, here's a receipt that shows someone being sold. And here's the translation of said receipt. It says, recorded, Judge S. Williams, $600 in full payment for Jane, a Negro woman, 18 years old, and Henry, her child, about 1 year old. Together with her future increase, that means all the children that she has will belong to this person buying her. If any which Negroes I warrant to be sound in body and mind, and slaves for witnesses my hand, and seal this 20th day of December, 1849. The conditions of the above instrument are that if the undersigned shall pay the cause to be paid to Judge S. Williams by the 1st of January, 1851, the sum of $600, good and lawful money, the property as above described, to revert to the undersigned, and the instrument to be void. Otherwise, to remain in full force in virtue this day, date above written, signed, sealed, and delivered in the presence of J.M. Lampley, John Williams C. This is a example of a primary source. All right, here's the actual letter itself. I do have a primary source. Let me give you another one because we're showing you the selling of a people. All right, such as this Negro woman, as it said, Jane, and her son, and she's to be a slave for life. So you're already done. Let's go here. This was a receipt for $250 payment for Kate, an enslaved woman, November 7th, 1834. All of these can be sourced at the Library of Congress, which actually keeps all the records of these things. And once again, this is Judge S. Williams, who paid $250 in full payment for a certain Negro woman named Kate, aged 36 years, which woman I do hereby warrant to be sound, and will also by these presents I do bind myself by hairs and designs, to warrant and defend her to the said Williams, his hairs and assigns forever. In witness whereof I do hereby set my hand and affix my seal this November 7th, 1834, Seaborn, Ledbetter, George W. Gilman. So now we have the receipts here, which are primary sources, and the selling of slaves, kidnapped victims from abroad. He won't show you any primary sources.
10 minutes and 20 seconds.
I got 10 minutes?
10 minutes and 20 seconds.
How many minutes? 10 minutes?
Yes, 10
There we
minutes
go.
and 20 seconds. Yep.
We could. We doing real good right now. So here it is. We have right here another primary source. So I don't know why you're making a linguistic argument to try to say that history did not happen. That is totally erroneous. And I would not let anyone talk like that. But let's see if what I'm saying is right or what he's saying is right, because he won't give you guys any primaries proving the point. How can he win the debate? Show these certain people, show these slaves that I'm proving existed, saying slavery. I've given you guys the definition, the function in which this debate is happening. I've given you guys the letters of receipts of slaves that were sold to a judge, which is a legal binding letter, and dates written at the time of these events. So let's go. Let's get it. Now, as we can see, during slavery, during the anti-slavery movement, the abolitionist movement, because you had this group of people in the North that were trying to get slavery abolished for different political reasons and ideologies. So here it is. We have a poster of an anti-slavery mass meeting, right? This was all throughout the North, right? They were calling for an end to slavery in the South due to a human rights violation, right? And it says agreeably to call, sign, by about 50 persons and published in the Lawrence Republican Massachusetts meeting of the Friends of Freedom will be held at the Millers Hall at 2:00 p.m. on Friday, December 2nd, the day on which Captain John Brown is to be executed. We will be getting into Captain John Brown to testify against the Inquisition's slave power that rules this nation and to take steps to organize the anti-slavery sentiment. This is called a primary source. These are the posters they were hanging up to alert the people that these things were going on. We are not arguing definitions, right? Let's continue. It also says arrangements have been made with prominent speakers to be present and address the meeting per order of the Committee of Arrangements, Lawrence, November 26, 1859. So the debate is over so far. I've already showed that slaves existed. I've already showed an anti-slavery movement, which is a political movement going on at this time. And what he's going to continue to do is this weird gish gallop about definitions. I am going to be presenting events that happened during this period. Let's continue. Here we go again. This is another poster advocating for the abolition of slavery. And this is the abolition of colonial slavery to Joseph Gansay Esquire, which means he's a lawyer, right? Constable of Wakefield. Let's see. Whereas the undersigned requests that you would call an early meeting for the inhabitants of this town and neighborhood for the purpose of considering the property of addressing His Majesty and petitioning both houses of Parliament for the, quote, abolition of colonial slavery. So what are these people talking about? They're trying to bring an end to slavery. You're going to try and sit here and tell everybody that's watching. I got over 180 people on my side watching saying, hey, slavery didn't happen because the word mean this and the word mean that. How is the word being used in context here? The word slavery being used in context here is what? A person that's being owned, a person that's being sold, a person being put to work, a person that doesn't have any rights, a person suffering from human rights violations. Let's continue on. Now, in compliance with the above requisition, I do hereby appoint a meeting to be held at the courthouse on Wednesday, the 10th instant at 12 o'clock at noon. Joseph Gansay, Constable. Once again, November 4th, 1830. He's not going to give us dates. He's not going to show us primaries. He's already agreed to me with me on my side that, in fact, slavery existed. This is simple. Let's deal with more handbills because we're going to be showing primary sources. Primaries. I don't have to guess this. You know, there's an old African proverb that says, when one argues with a fool, the fool has already won the debate. I'm not arguing with you about words and grammar and things like that. I'm arguing with you a historical argument. That's very important that you understand the context here, because you're showing yourself to be a hypocrite. So let's take a look at this bill right here, this poster here. It says, caution, colored people of Boston, one and all, you are here.
My bad, 5 minutes.
You are hereby respectfully cautioned and advised to avoid conversing with the watchmen and police. I got you. Thank you. Conversing with the watchmen and police officers of Boston. For since the recent order of the mayor and aldermen, they are empowered to act as kidnappers and slave catchers. So you're saying the Europeans was catching Europeans. Doesn't really matter, because you've already agreed that Europeans didn't exist by saying it's slavery fake. You can't show the word Slav and then we're talking about the word slavery, because we see an act of kidnapping going on here, right? You know, the things you said in your presentation that I would have to show you, right? I mean, a third grader could do this. This is simple. You actually hung yourself here. All you got to do is let a pseudo talk. They hang themselves every time. So it says that the policemen are acting as kidnappers and slave catchers, and they have already been actually employed in kidnapping, catching, and keeping slaves. You agreed with that. Therefore, if you value your liberty, we can use the word freedom to replace it, they're quite synonymous, and the welfare of the fugitives among you, you shun them in every possible manner, as so many hounds on the track of the most unfortunate of your race. Keep a sharp lookout for kidnappers, and you have a top eye open. I mean, you literally hung yourself. I mean, your entire audience is they're just sitting up there cheering on their retarded nephew. They're just, that's all they're doing, man. You make absolutely no sense. These are primary accounts of what was going on in this time period. Let's look here. Notice the Dutchess County Anti-Slavery Society. Wow, this is just made up lore, right? Will be held first annual meeting in the house of Stephen E. Flagger in the village of Pleasant Valley on Thursday, the 25th. Several gentlemen will address the meeting. There's some little damage there, but we're seeing anti-slavery movement. And it says all who feel an interest in this present preservation of their liberties are respectfully invited to attend. This is April 22nd, 1839. This is what you asked for. Family, if I'm making sense on my side, please press 1 and let us know that we in the building here. Simple. Let's deal with another abolitionist who was murdered and killed here. And this is Major Star Hoyt. Do we have a, what's it called? A primary account of it? Yes, we do. Actually, we do. It's from the National Museum of African American History. And Major Star Hoyt was a free state advocate who was killed by pro-slavery men during the days of Bleeding Kansas. And this is what it says. This is what the letter wrote that his captain wrote for him. And as he said, "Mourn not, my friends, in his untimely fate, for he was a willing sacrifice on the altar of freedom. He has gone, but not lost. He will live in the hearts and friends until the memory ceases to cling to that which is pure in heart, ennobling purpose, and brave in every act. I will not stop here, but history shall tell his tale to the future generations, giving to them the pattern of man. I have been laboring ever since the States to get the party to go back with me. He has no friends to go to and do battle for which he fell a martyr. If so, I'll take them to the spot where he'll be euted." This was a Major David Hoyt who was killed. He was an abolitionist against slavery. He was against slavery. Let's continue on. More anti-slavery meetings. I mean, with your logic, I guess you're just fucking saying that these are anti-European meetings here. I mean, that doesn't make sense in context, especially when Aboriginal power himself even has people hanging in chains. You're just playing ignorant linguistic semantics, and I don't think you really even understand that. But let's deal with this for the time being, okay? And it says anti-slavery meetings to be addressed, anti-slavery meetings will be held in this place to commence in the, to be addressed by agents of the Western Anti-Slavery Society. What else you are actually seeing now, not to mention that he agreed with me. I have to keep saying this here, right? And look what it says. 3 million of your fellow beings are in chains. Wow. Look at we got a number there. Wow. Isn't that what you asked for? Numbers. Isn't that what you said in your opening? Numbers. And that sorry ass argument? Numbers. I'm giving them to you. I mean, have you ever read Cat in the Hat? Look, numbers. It's present. You agreed with me. Slavery happened. Look, 3 millions of your fellow beings are in chains. The church and the government sustains the horrible system of oppression. So now we know the context of slavery and the anti-slavery movement, because we see there are a group of people being oppressed over here in this country.
Fire round. Shout out to Chris Harris. Damn, that was some heat them brothers just came with. Drop them fire emojis in the motherfucking chat. Drop them fire emojis in the chat. We're gonna be right back in a couple seconds, family. 30 seconds. We about to get into the second round, family. Drop them fire emojis. Let's go. Shout out to everybody in the building. We just waiting on Rootwords to come back. Seems like we got them in here, so let's get it. All right. I'm waiting. You can go and start screen share whenever you're ready.
StreamYard straight kicked me out. That wasn't my fault. You know, I usually keep it real. I just got booted, man. Yeah, I'm ready, bro. I'm ready.
Whenever you get your screen up and start talking, I start your time.
I'm waiting for the screen to come up. All right, give me 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Yeah, reset by. Okay, I'm ready. All right, can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right. Now you remember in round 1, I ain't about to be talking about these words all day. That shit boring. I just had to get that out. Round 1, you know what I'm saying? I talked about language and witchcraft and reconstruction through history through words. And I separated slavery and serf and serve and black and Negro, and showed you that the serf was not a slave back then, and you couldn't be sold or bought. And then I showed you what separates slave in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 substances of killing, murder, torture, rape, you know, like felony ones. That's what slavery is. And that every time they talk about other things, they're talking about they talk about servitude. But I showed y'all what the institution of slavery is. First, I told you that I like that to see, because this is what he brought up. I'm glad he said this. He brought up what an institution is, which he hasn't showed the institution of slavery yet. An institution is an established organization or corporation, especially in the character of the public of the character. A facility. So when you make the English language, which that's in the school, that's where you're gonna find all your that's where you're gonna find all your institutional slavery. Is an oral story written in English by somebody that's gonna give you mad illusions and gonna feed it to you. He the one who told us to look up establishment and what an institution is, and he still hasn't proved the institution of slavery unless you're looking at something like this. Shit, I could write something on this and say it's slavery. Shit, I could write in a book like this and say, well, this is a manuscript of. I could make some shit up and write it down. Now let's get to my second round, though. Yeah, that's what he did. I told you I was gonna show you the institution of slavery because he can't show it. He's gonna show you this and some shit we can make in 10 minutes. Yeah. And didn't even show us the whole book. He showed us a piece of paper. He showed us a piece of paper. A piece of paper. and put it on the screen and said that's a real source. He went to the Congress and the people that sold you in slavery, fool. I mean, brother, you in the Congress. Bet you there wasn't nobody of your people in your color up there. But now we getting to my round. Now I'm just trying to get, nigga, dude, you crazy. But this is what do you need to kidnap people and force them into slavery? You know what I'm saying? What do you need? What manpower? What is the size of Spain and Portugal? What is the timeline of the birth of slavery in the Moors? Guns. When was guns made? Was the slave slow or fast? Can they fight? Boats. When did they make these damn boats? Time travel from America to Africa. Where are the boats from the 1500s to the 1800s? And we're going to talk about this Catilda shit. I'm done with the words, though. But anyway. Now, first, you know what I'm saying, my brother, you know what I'm saying? What do you need to kidnap people and force them into slavery? Well, let's look at manpower. So let's just look at Google Maps real quick. I'm glad he gave me time to look at this real quick. Let's look at Google Maps real quick. So when we're looking at Google Maps, like, come on now, Google Maps. Don't play with me now. 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 When you're looking at Google Maps, do you see what they said that Spain and Portugal did? Because these are the first countries he's talking about. Spain and Portugal over here. Do you see the size of these places? Do you see the size of these places? These places are smaller than Morocco, bro. And they said these places took over the world. Do you see the size of these places? Hold on, let me go over there just a little more. Do you see the size of this place? They didn't even say that whole place did it at first. They said this shit did it. They said this little motherfucker right there did it. That's Portugal, bro. They said that motherfucker went around the world. But let me show you what they said that Portugal did. Let me show you what they did. This shit like, just a little crazy, man. It's just a little crazy. Because when they started talking about the Portuguese, the first Portuguese slave trade was in 1441. And this shit about to get crazy right here. 1441. Give me a minute, bro. All right. 1441. Thank you, though, man. I needed this drinking in backwoods. Thank you. Give me a minute, damn it. 1441. That's when the first slaves was brought from Portugal to West Africa. Come on, man. Y'all know where I'm about to go with this, don't y'all? 1441, 1451, 61, 71, 81, 91. You 50 years of lying. Now, why would I say they lying? Because they said the first Portugal, this itty bitty country, decided like this itty bitty country. Let me make sure I go to the next one. When did the Moors fall? This should kill the whole slave story of Portugal. The Moors didn't fall till 1492. Let me make sure I look at this stuff right. Let me make sure I ain't smoking. There ain't no fentanyl in my weed, because they said there's fentanyl in weed around here, man. The fall of Granada in 1492. The mark of the end of the Muslims. He the one who said on AdPod's channel the other day, let me make sure I don't smell nothing but marijuana in here, man. I need to drink. I need to brush my teeth, Jesus. Yeah, it's nothing but bad breath and blunt, man. Ain't nothing but bad breath and blunt. I'm making sure I'm in the right mind, man. I'm making sure I'm in my right mind, man. 1492. That's when they said the Moors fell. So how can these people be around right here? How? All y'all some lies. Quit talking about Portugal. In the 1400s. Kill the whole story. Y'all 50 years off. Y'all 2 generations off of the blickety blacks, the Moors, the Africans, whatever y'all saying we was up there. It wasn't the Portuguese doing nothing in Africa. Shouldn't that be case closed right there? Shouldn't that still go along with wordcraft and witchcraft and all that stuff? Let's keep on going, though. I'm just trying to say that. I mean, it should be over with, though. Like, damn. I mean, like, that's like me saying I was around with Martin Luther King. Like, root words, man. Bro, he was dead in the 60s. You wasn't born till like 77, 76. I say I walk with Martin Luther King. That's the equivalence of the Portuguese saying that they walked with slavery in the 1400s. Like, come on, man. Y'all wasn't around, motherfucker. There was some niggas around there in castles. That should be case closed right there. But let's get to the let's get to the first Spanish slave trade. The first Spanish enslavement of Africans began in Portuguese captains with Nino Trista, 1441. Man, make sure there ain't no fatty in this shit. Yeah. Make sure I ain't smoking nothing except for some marijuana around it. Let me smell this bag real quick, man. I ain't gonna even bring it. Fucker, y'all smoking something on this channel, man? Y'all, Chris Harris, man. Y'all need to go to some type of man. Look, man, I'm gonna call a shrink on y'all, bro. Y'all need a heavy dose of shrinkerage, man. 50 years off of everything, man. Yeah, how the hell can I say I was around here with Martin Luther King? Man, I don't even want to go no further. The shit's over with. Shit. Now, when was guns made? Do you know who the fuck we is, my nigga? Do you know who the fuck the rowdy niggas is? You know, like, we turn nigga real quick. You gotta have some guns to settle us down like shooters. Let's just see when guns was made. Like, you talking about you gonna come over here and take us with a something called a wheel lock.
6 minutes and 20 seconds. Six minutes and 20.
I got it right there. Yeah, I got him. I got you. Yep. The wheel lock. The wheel lock was a contraption that was made. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna say this is the first firearm. That the matchlock. Look. I'm not about to go through this shit. The snap lock. The matchlock. You know the American Flint, Michigan lock. You know the Flint, Michigan lock. The Flint, Michigan lock. You know the Flint, Michigan lock. And the snap hits. They go click bang. That's it. They go click. Bang. That's it, y'all. Click bang. So you telling me they're gonna take my mom, my dad, my cousin, and my uncle, and they got a gun that go click bang? Man, you dealing with niggas, man. We fuck around and take your gun, my nigga. Do you know how hard we hit, my nigga? Like, hold on, man. You got you a bang and that's it? And then you got to reload? My nigga, we might take your whole man, we might take your whole country if that's all you got, bro. You can't beat the Crips and Bloods with a gun that go, you got to pull that shit in and go click and bang. And then the matchlock, you can't even use it in the morning time. You can't even use it at night. I mean, in the rain, because it's a match. When it get wet, it's dead. It's over with. So now the whole slavery, how can some Europeans without guns take some niggas? Shit don't even sound right. Do a small touch how it ignites in the main charge. This stuff is one bullet. Like, you gotta put that stuff in it. But let's keep on going, man. I'm just showing you what you need for it. Now, what countries run the fastest? I don't even say we got to fight, man. But when you look at the 100 men's meter dash for us getting around the country, it's somebody in America, Africa, Jamaica, Americas. Okay, a Japanese, Italian. They wasn't in slavery. Jamaica, America. Okay, England, they got, but that's a black person anyway. America, Survey, America, Jamaica, America, Australia, none of these places, okay, one German in there. How can people that are slow catch the fastest, most Olympic bound race in the world? Now let's get to what country got the best boxers? What country got the best boxers? No, why did you do that shit, Rootwords? Like, do you understand what America is? Which country has the best boxers? Like, just as the United States has just the boxing world champions than any other country. Do you know we known for knocking your ass out? Do you know, nigga, when you reach America, you got night power. It's just in your blood, man. Somebody smack your mom talking about taking your kid, smacking your mom, man, with a gun with one bullet. So you telling me somebody gonna smack your mom and take your kid and they only got one bullet? And you in the country of 99 power and your kid probably could run faster than their whole country. Yeah, so I'm just going against this shit though real quick. Like, hold on, how many, like, am I going with this real quick? How many minutes I got left? I got 3 minutes left. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I'm going through this. I'm still going through this. Okay. How many people was on a slave boat from Africa?
2 minutes.
Okay. How many people? They're trying to say by the 1200s, because I'm going through his, since he said I don't got no main stuff. This, I ain't using none of this. All this stuff ain't really Wikipedia now. You know, in the mid 1500s, we're sending 200 people at a time. And sometimes they're sending 300 people on a boat. 300 people on a boat across the Atlantic Ocean. Now, they said that it takes 4 weeks to 3 months to cross the boat, across the Atlantic Ocean. But now this Clotilda ship, they said was the last ship. This is the only ship they ever found. The Clotilda is the last U.S. slave ship that they found when they said in 1959, 100 African women was on the ship. They're lying because slavery stopped in 1808 when they was bringing people over here, if it's true. You was not allowed to bring nobody over here after 1808. So they some lying sons of, they're liars. Now I'm going to show you the sooner boat it is. See pictures of slave boats. There are no pictures. They're paintings. Paintings. Now let me show you pictures that was in the 16, 17, and 1800s. They called the Viking ships. They got real Viking ships out here, real ones. Let me show you some more pictures that was made in America. You know, like the schooners. These are our boats that was made in America. They're still here around, floating around. That's what they said the slave boat was that can't carry 200 people. Now here go another one, the Clipper. These are boats from the 16 and 1700s, and they can't carry 200 to 300 people at the bottom of it. So I hope that I prove to everybody that what you need to kidnap people and force them into slavery is manpower, which Spain and Portugal was too small. The timeline of slavery don't even match because the Moors was around. You need guns, which they didn't have none. The Slavs was too slow. They wasn't fast, and they can't fight. You need boats. Who made the boats? You still can't. Where the boats at? You need to make the boats, and you need to prove that you had boats. And then when I looked at the Clotilda, it's a lie. It wasn't bringing nobody over here because on law, you couldn't bring nobody over here for 50 years. So all I could do is just prove that this whole story is fake. I digress.
You have 25 seconds, 20 seconds left. We're yield. We're gonna get ready to get into Chris second round. Shout out to brother Chris. Let's get ready to get it in. Shout out to everybody in the building. Let's take this off the screen. Make sure y'all drop them fire emojis. You about to get into Chris round. Let's get it.
All right. Let's just, this is ridiculous here. Let's pull up my screen share here, and let's go to, once again, let me start this up. This is ridiculous. This is one of the most incoherent arguments I've ever heard. Let me go here first, and let's share this question. What was one of the things I told you he was going to be doing? I told you that he would be begging the question. That was one of the most incoherent arguments that I've ever heard. He started off by saying Chris used the Library of Congress. Why would I use the Library of Congress when they are the people who enslaved you? Once again, you agreed with me that slavery is not fake. My position is that slavery existed, and you are agreeing with me. As a matter of fact, talking about kidnapping people out of Africa, you're yourself. Excuse me?
My bad. Did you start screen sharing
Thank
yet?
you.
I'm saying, did you?
Yes. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see.
All right, now I see it.
I think I'm sharing. Okay. Once again, I told you guys he would be doing begging question with one of the most incoherent rounds that I've ever heard. I talked to my younger nephew, and he can make better arguments than this for slavery and against it, because I teach him how to debate for a topic or against one. And that was actually embarrassing. Here's the problem with your community, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Ab Power is trying to put together a debate platform, and it's niggas like you that come around and make these type of arguments, and it allows us not to take this community seriously, because people like you who always or constantly beg for attention come around these platforms and actually ruin a lot of great arguments, and it allows people like myself to not take this entire community serious. I'm actually the one on here respecting this platform, and you're the one on here disrespecting the platform with such a horrendous performance. Here, I want to show you something else, since you said that Africans cannot be kidnapped. But before we go there, you stated that in 1441, African slaves were first brought to Portugal. That's what you brought up in your debate. I told you before we started this debate 2 days ago that I would vet you on the spot. Once again, you agreed with me that slavery is not fake. And it says the Portuguese are acknowledged by historians to have inaugurated the transatlantic slave trade. You brought this up. In 1441, two Portuguese explorers, Nino Tristão and Antonio Goncalves, sailed to what is now today Mauritania in West Africa. They kidnapped 12 natives and returned home to present them as gifts to Prince Harry the Navigator. But by 1460, roughly 20 years later, 700 to 800 African slaves were being taken annually into Portugal. Right? So he tries to beg the question and say it didn't happen, but it happened, right? He reads these sources and tries to debunk them, right? Then he says it happened in another sentence. It's just total confusion, a bunch of red herrings. Has he proven slavery to be fake? No, he's done nothing but pull sources that agree with my stance. Let's see. Do we have a primary source of the king of the Congo? And what he said, yes, we do. This is an excerpt of the letter from Nzinga Mbemba to Portuguese King João III. Now, in 1526, the king of the Congo, Nzinga Mbemba, began writing a series of 24 letters to the Portuguese King João III, appealing for an end to the slave trade. While a trading relationship had been in place between Portugal and the Congo since the 1480s, Afonso was increasingly unhappy with the relationship between both countries, had degenerated into one in which the slave trade had become increasingly important. Why this was going on is another argument. Mainly it started going on is because the king of the Congo accepted Christianity. And he thought that would expand his empire, and that's how the Portuguese began to come in there. But let's continue. And this is what the king says. Do we have a primary source for that? Yes, we do. And here's the transcript of that letter. And he says, "Sir, your Highness, to the Portuguese King João III, appealing for an end to the slave trade. While a trading relationship had been in place between Portugal and the Congo since the 1480s, Afonso was increasingly unhappy with the relationship between both countries, had degenerated into one in which the slave trade had become increasingly important." Why this was going on is another argument. Mainly it started going on is because the king of the Congo accepted Christianity. And he thought that would expand his empire. And that's how the Portuguese began to come in there. But let's continue. And this is what the king says. Do we have a primary source for that? Yes, we do. And here's the transcript of that letter. And he says, "Sir, your highness should know how our kingdom is being lost in so many ways that it is convenient to provide for the necessary remedy, since this is caused by the excessive freedom given by your agents and officials to the men and merchants who are allowed to come into this kingdom to set up shops with goods and many things which have been prohibited by us." He's admitting responsibility, "and which they spread through our kingdoms and domains in such an abundance that many of our vassals, whom we've had in obedience, do not comply, because they have things in greater abundance than we ourselves. And it was with these things that we had them content and subjected under our vassalage and jurisdiction. So it is doing a great harm, not only to the service of God, but the security and peace of our kingdoms and state as well." And this is what he says right here as he continues. Oh, Jesus, excuse me. He says this, excuse me. He says, "And we cannot reckon how great the damage is, since the mentioned merchants are taking every day our natives, sons of the land, and the sons of our noblemen and vassals and our relatives, because the thieves and men of bad conscience grab them, wishing to have things and wares of this kingdom which they are ambitious of. They grab them and get them to be sold. And so great, sir, is the corruption of your licentiousness that our country," a little practice, you can say that word too, "that our country is being completely depopulated. And your highness should not agree with this, nor accept it as your service. And to avoid it, we need from those kingdoms no more than some priests and few people to reach in schools, and no other goods except wine and flour for the holy sacrament. This is why we beg of your highness to help and assist us in this matter, commanding your factors. They should not send here either merchants or wares, because it is our will that in these kingdoms there should not be any trade of slaves nor outlet of them." So the Portuguese were actually coming into the Congo and stealing people. They had guns. I mean, did you literally just use video game lore to sit up there and say that people with muskets or rifles or whatever type of weapon could not enslave a people? What about the fact that the people of Congo were inherently a peaceful people? What about they were subjects to the king and they were, in fact, an agricultural people, that they necessarily weren't all warlike? Did you take that into consideration? No, because you're making such an ignorant argument and such a poor performance that you yourself don't understand history. And it's people like you that come onto these debate platforms and embarrass not only the platform, not only your peers, but also yourself. There's no way I would act as if the way you're acting this entire time on here. I take this seriously, dude. But let's continue, because you agreed with my point once again. Family, did he prove that slavery did not exist? No, he didn't. In fact, he just begged the question. This is what he's done the entire debate. You know what? Let's continue on with this, because I'm cooking a little bit here, right? We have more anti-slavery meetings to be addressed, more great anti-slavery meetings, right? But let's take a look here. We also have the sale of slaves. We also have these posters. It says credit sale of choice, gang of 41 slaves. That's what it says, gang of 41 slaves on Tuesday, February 5th, 1856, a very valuable gang of slaves, right? Here they have a list of the slaves. Look at it, says terms of sales, 1 year's credit for approved city acceptance. There it is. The selling of slaves in the Congo, the kidnapping of people, you have it all. These are the terms in which you are agreeing with me on. What are you talking about the Moors for? Look at this, $1,200 to $1,200 to $1,250 for Negroes. The undersigned, which is to purchase a large lot of Negroes for the New Orleans market. I will pay $1,200 to $1,250 for one young man and $850 to $1,000 for one young woman. In fact, I will pay more for likely Negroes than any other trader in Kentucky. My office is adjoining the Broadway Hotel on Broadway in Lexington, Kentucky, where my agent can always be found. WMF Tablet, that devil, my hope he's burning in hell. Lexington, Kentucky, July 2nd, 1853, right? Negroes for sale again. Here's another bill, May 1784. These are primary sources in which I said you would show none. You briefly went over some boats or something like that. It's a non-equitable argument. You're completely non-sequitur. Negroes for sale, a cargo. Very stout men and women in good order and fit for immediate service. Just imported from the windward coast of Africa. In the ship, 2 brothers. Conditions are 1/2, or produce the other half payable, fit for January next, giving bond and security if required. This is signed by John Mitchell, another devil, May 19th, 1784. I want to go here. Also, check it out. J.M. Wilson. It says corner of Esplande and Moreau sets. I think that's what it says. For sale, Maryland and Virginia Negroes, consisting of field hands, house servants, cooks, seamstresses. I can't say that word. Seamstresses, washers, ironers, and mechanics. All which will be sold low for cash, planters and purchasers. Look at this. We got another slave abolitionist poster up. See all these primaries that I have come with, right? It says, gentlemen, having heard that some of my friends wish to me to declare in print those opinions concerning the abolition of slavery, which I expressed in my grateful address to the numerous and respectable meeting at the Wickham Market, I come forward with pleasure to repeat these sentiments. From the natural feeling of freeborn Britain, I abhor the idea of human slavery. Do you understand what that said?
3 minutes.
Ever exert my best endeavors to promote the education and religious instruction of the poor, Negroes, and to release them when and whenever it can be done with a prospect of improved happiness to themselves and with fair-handed brotherly justice to our own countrymen. And I trust that from the humane measures lately adopted and by the increased prosperity of our colonies, that happy time will soon arrive when every poor slave may obtain the idea of human slavery. Do you understand what that said?
3 minutes.
Ever
Sorry
exert
about
my
that. It was
best
lagging
endeavors
a
to
little
promote
bit,
the
y'all.
education
I just wanted
and
to
religious
make
instruction
sure.
of the
I hate that
poor,
it's lagging like
of
that.
poor Negroes, and to release them when and whenever it can be done with a prospect of improved happiness to themselves and with fair-handed brotherly justice to our own countrymen. And I trust that from the humane measures lately adopted and by the increased prosperity of our colonies, that happy time will soon arrive when every poor slave may obtain the blessing of freedom. I have the honor to be, gentlemen, your obedient servant, Charles Brooke Vere. This is December 5th, 1832. What are you talking about the Moors for? Once again, we got great sales of slaves in 1855. $3, one winch, $1, $17. age 20 to 26. The woman, age 42. The other woman, age 23. The one buck, 52. 17 bucks, age from 12 to 20. Excellent condition. That's what chattel is. Chattel is property. I know it hurts. I know this is a memory you guys don't want to invoke or remember. I know you guys have a form of cognitive dissonance when you guys see the information for yourself, because it's just not root words. He's just the worst of the crop. Everybody would capitulate after seeing these primaries and get upset and act the way that you all do. Negroes for sale once again, and we can land, park our plane after this. It says Negroes for sale will be sold at public auction at Spring Hill County of the Hempstead on a credit of 12 months on Friday, the 28th day of this present month, 15 young valuable slaves, consisting of 9 superior men and boys between 12 and 27 years of age, 1 woman about 43 years old. And it says Spring Hill, January 6, 1842. Now notice it says Negroes for sale, and it calls them slaves. So you can't even play with your linguistics or grammar bullshit here either. Please respect the platform and respect the craft of debating. You're here to perform for your peers, not on here to make a complete ass of yourself. With that being said, I land my plane. Family, he never proved in 2 rounds that slavery did not exist. He has, in fact, capitulated his entire debate by showing slavery to exist, continuously begging the question. Thank you.
Fire round. You have 20 minutes to yield on that. So if you want to go ahead and yield that, we'll go ahead and wrap that up. We get
into 20 minutes. You said I had 20 minutes left?
No, 20 seconds. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah. I give you 20 seconds.
I'm about to say, damn.
The 20 seconds. But yeah, we're going to get ready to get into the next round. We're going to go into the third. Give me a couple seconds, you guys. We're going to take a quick break. And we're going to get into the third round, y'all. Oh, there go that time right there. Shout out to everybody in the building, man, that came out to support, man, that came out under these circumstances. I do appreciate y'all. Hit that like button. We'll be right back in a couple minutes, man. Under these circumstances, I do appreciate y'all. Hit that like button.
I put it together. Who better bitch, they going together. Baby gon' suck me and fuck up, I let him. I was gonna smoke with a bitch, you ain't clever. Right through that bitch cause she thought she was special. Those on bitches dance with the devil. He got a back cause he thought of him dead. The clip on the gun that I got him in natty. Mention my name in the scenes with pressure. 24K, no, I vetted them letters. 24K, what I put on the bezel. Missing my flavors and missing my fabrics. Valentino wanna cook with the cabbage. Trying to put me out on the atlas. Independent, what I'm keeping my status. I got the pain inside of the boat. I bought the ice from out of the dough. I got a chain, I'm freaking the dog. My freak got a pain, Chris, you don't know. I'm who they depend on. I'ma go get a bag every week. I'ma put down a pack every week. I'ma put down the trap every week. Scoring the end zone. Running me plays, nigga, like I'm hurt. All of this money hit them where it hurts. You know the mission, put them in the dirt. Who they depend on. I'ma go get a bag every week. I'ma put down the trap every week. I'ma put down the trap every week. Scoring the end zone. Running me plays, nigga, like I'm hurt. All of this money hit them where it hurts. You know the mission, put them in the dirt.
Yeah, welcome fire emojis. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all thumb up the video, man. It's one-on-ones. Yeah. Shout out to Chris Harris. Shout out to Rootword. Appreciate these brothers for showing up. You guys get ready to get in that comment section at the end of the video and make y'all decision.
No, I just hit mute.
Let's get ready to get it. Let's get. No, you good. Let's get ready to get it. We're going into the third round, man. Root words, it's on you. Let me get ready to pull your screen up. Boom, you locked and loaded on the screen. Let me get ready to get your time together. Boom, we look. Whenever you start speaking, we're ready to get it. You're muted if you're talking, by the way. You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I ain't want to start yet. Here I go. Yep. Here we go. This round for Philly. This 2 minutes for Philly. But first, I gotta say in the first round, just to remind you, I told y'all through language that's the only way they can reconstruct history. I told y'all that in the first round. And I said that he ain't gonna show you the institution of slavery. I am. And it's for Philly. This the second institution of slavery. The first one was the dictionary that I showed y'all, right? The dictionary. And then all the books that come from these. These are the institutions of slavery. These darn English books you read from, these mythologists. Got you, Philly. But that's my first round. That's what I'm saying now. My second round, I mean, I hope I showed the best. And that's slavery. And that's all he showed was pieces of paper and little books as narrated by oral traditions by Europeans. Now, the second one is what I showed, what you need to kidnap people and force them into slavery. The manpower, which Spain and Portuguese is itty-bitty small, itty-bitty. The timeline and the birth of slavery, which is fake because the Moors was around. Guns, which they didn't have. Was slaves fast or slow, and could they fight? Where'd they get the boats from? How long did it take to get to Africa from America? Where was the boats of the 1500s and the 1800s? They couldn't show no slave boats. Then I showed you the Clotilda is a lie because slavery ended in the 1800s. Betty won't rebut that. It ended in the 1800s as bringing people to America. So how was they bringing some people in the 1850s? Now we about to get to this next round, which I ain't gonna say it's free. And then I showed y'all that slavery is killing, kidnapping, rape. You know, it's felony ones with specifications. It's not dealing with jobs. That I showed y'all that the Negro and the serf, that's what a slave is a Negro and a serf, and it's dealing with nothing dealing with slavery. I showed y'all this. Showed it to you. Now we get into the third round where I got to show you how they reconstructed slavery fake because America is Atlantis. America is Egypt. America is Greek. America is Rome. The black people are the inventors of the world. Plantations, that was tassels. Freedom, Burr, I don't know what that is. Old world structures, the great industries and the great people, the Indians. The Continental Congress and John Hanson. You know what I'm saying? The first empire of America. Slavs, Moors, and Indians are the same people. They hide we from cities. The Vatican and Washington, D.C., the same architecture. Oh, I didn't put it in there. As Machu Picchu and the pyramids of America is better than what they Freedom, Burr, I don't know what that is. Old world structures, the great industries and the great people, the Indians. The Continental Congress and John Hanson. You know what I'm saying? The first empire of America. Slavs, Moors, and Indians are the same people. They hide we from cities. The Vatican and Washington, D.C., the same architecture. Oh, I didn't put it in there. As Machu Picchu and the pyramids of America is better than what they is, and that's what they hiding from us. Now I'm about to show this shit though. Like when they say that America is Atlantis, well, I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to say some real bad stuff right there. Well, first I'm gonna go to. Okay, where is this at? I'm gonna have to just flow with this stuff. You better hurry up. You got a long time to do this stuff. Okay, American is Atlantis. Atlantis, hurry up, man. I'm going to go through one at a time. Okay, first I'm going to show you that Indians and Moors and slaves are the same people. Indian, Moors, and slaves are the same people. That's the first one I'm going to show. So now we're going to get to the Virginia slave trade. These people right here in this Virginia trade slave, these Virginia slaves, some of them had feathers in their head, and they was dealing with tobacco with feathers around them. I ain't saying they slaves or not. Okay, if them slaves, then what about these Indians in the 1500s? That Aboriginal power in A1 gave me the gift before the old world Europeans showed us this. What about this right here? What about them same feathers on that same slave with them Roman pictures behind them? Roman structures. We're going to keep on going. And then I'm going to connect them to the Rakunde Moors and the ports. This is the history they hiding. So you saying that was a slave? Because there was an Indian land, Indian Moors and slaves are the same people. Indian Moors and slaves are the same people. Now let me get done with that one. Make sure I don't go too far so I win with one. I should have kept that Montezuma up. Now, another thing that they did to us in the Freedmen's Bureau, because nobody knows what the Freedmen's Bureau is. They don't talk about what it is. You don't even got to go to it. It's dealing with squatters' right, abandoned lands, because we was in Indian wars over here and the Civil War, because you wouldn't give slaves guns when you raped them, killed them, and all that stuff to fight for you. Them was our wars and abandoned lands. Abandoned lands? What do you mean abandoned lands? Why would you say abandoned lands like that? Because the abandoned lands is when you're looking at the boat Catilda. That was one of our boats over here, because I just showed you that we had a whole bunch of boats in our harbors that they squatted on. They squatted on all our boats. I'm showing y'all submarines on Roman houses around here. Hey, go ahead somewhere for a second, man. Just leave that shit right there and go ahead for some. I got 5 minutes left, bro. Some weird shit, man. And I'm showing y'all every city you went into in America, you went into in a canal. These are the first streets of America, and we had submarines in the 1800s. That's what they're hiding from us. That's two things. Let me just fuck my mode up, and I'm almost done. Jesus. And then they hiding from us that our plantations that they said we were slaves on, these are castles. And you know the castles was made in the 1500s by the Moors, who are Indians. These are so-called, they don't want to show you, these are castles. That's what plantations are. So I ain't going to just say slavery fake. I'm going to show you what the black folks, I mean slaves, I mean Indians, I mean Moors, whatever you call us over here that's aboriginal to America. This is what we were staying in. Great shit like that. And that's what that's what slavery is about. Us living in castles that they don't tell us about. That's what them is. And then when you get the Ivy League buildings, this is what they squatted on. In all of our colleges is what they squatted on. All of our colleges is what they squatted on. And that's why I said the Greeks are the Creek Indians. The Greek, when you look up the word Greek, they did this in the Great Germanic Shift.
You got 7 minutes and 45 seconds.
It's all good. I already did half of it. When you get to the word, the German language originally borrowed the word K. Okay, borrowed the letter K and made it into the Creeks. See, because we're the Greek letter. We're the Greek letter. They squatted on all of our stuff. So I ain't going to just say slavery fake. I'm going to show you what they took from us. We are the Greeks. We the ones who bring the Greek letter in the Ivy League colleges that look like castles that these Europeans didn't build. We the ones with Casablanca over here, which is the state capitals, and the White Houses over here, and the state capitals, the city capitals, all of our magnificent stuff that they squatted on in abandoned lands. That's what the Freedmen's Bureau is about. About to talk about slavery. I'm going to talk about our luxurious stuff for our last 7 minutes. Then I'm going to talk about the Pantheon in Apia State. You know, Rome over here. This Rome over here. This Rome over here. That's why I'm going through my little list real quick. And these is the industries of America that was dealing with the great American Indians. Because when you're dealing with Rochester and all these cities, you used to go up in these cities, and that's what the first bridges in America was aqueducts. They hide our history because they squatted on all of our industries. This is how all of our cities was magnificent. This is the Indians, the Moors, the bliggity blacks, the slaves that they don't want to tell us about. This is why they keep us this fake ass slave story. Now we get into Atlantis because you know the South sunk when the Freedmen's Bureau sunk. And then I just showed you South Carolina with submarines in it. Yes, mama. Yes, mama. And then here go pictures of Atlantis right here. When you get to it, oh, please hurry up. I only got like 4 or 5 minutes left, but it's all on point. It's all on point. When you get to Atlantis right here, this look like Mexico City that A1 always be showing about. But hold on, let me get the one other thing. I'm going too slow. It's supposed to be right there. Come on, Rootwords. Come on, Rootwords. Go to it so you can show them what Atlantis is. So you can show them what Atlantis is. This is the pictures of Atlantis. Now I'm about to show y'all what Atlantis is because I might not be able to go to it real there. Okay, it's the World Fairs. It's the World Fairs of America that they squatted on. They squatted on our greatness in America. They don't want to let us know that we are the Masons. We are the Moors. We are the Indians. These are our great structures and monuments. This is Rome over here, baby. This is Atlantis over here. This is Egypt over here. This is our great stuff over here. We ain't slaves. Take your ass to Africa. You ain't gonna forget to tell you about John Hanson, the last black president, the last Aboriginal president of the Continental Congress around here. But I'm getting a short time though, because we had cities over here. We had cities over here before the Europeans got over here, because we the ones who made all the inventions over here. Look at the list of inventors over here, but I don't got enough time to go through all of them. We made all the inventions. Look at the list. Look at the list. Looky, looky, looky. Why ain't there none in Africa like that? Why ain't no slaves? Why ain't the people that was over from Africa bring no inventors like this? Why ain't they doing stuff like this? I'm saying we made all these cities over here because Benjamin Banneker made Washington, D.C., baby. Aboriginal to America. Science, aboriginal to America, not to Africa. And you know, like my brother Ad Power taught me, and motherfucking A1 at Mexico City is the blueprint of Washington, D.C., and it's the blueprint of Vatican. I'm saying this Aboriginal community, great. You ain't gonna take away from our history. It's the same blueprint as Washington, D.C., the same blueprint as the Vatican City, the same blueprint as Machamuku. With the Aboriginals want to talk that shit better than me. So I'm showing you history they hiding. That's all I'm gonna go is just going through. This is what they hiding from us. Goddamn, we great like a motherfucker around here, and it's in Peru too now. Now, from Peru, the same structures as the Vatican, the same structures as Machu Picchu, the same structures as Washington, D.C. around this motherfucker, man. Excuse my French. Excuse my French. Let me keep on going real quick. What else I got right here? And then he kept saying institutions. He ain't show no institution of slavery. I showed you the institution of slavery. It's a book that don't got nothing to back it up. And I showed you stuff out the book. I showed you pictures of stuff you can go to right now. And then they never let you know about history that stuff comes from us, baby.
3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
I'm done though. I'm almost done though. Now we get into the Garden of Eden, because I told you that we was the ones. The Garden of Eden is where the 4 rivers meet at the river heads. Now, when we look at a Google map, we know in Africa there ain't even 4 rivers over there, man. Niggas ain't even got 4 rivers over there. Our Cairo, Illinois, sit where Memphis sits at. You know what I'm saying? When you're sitting over here in Africa, there ain't no 4 rivers over here in Egypt. Where the 4 rivers at? Where 2 rivers at? I ain't gonna even waste my time on that. We going over here to the real Egypt. Like I say, I ain't gonna waste my time on 3 rounds of slavery. I'm showing the Aboriginal greatness around here. Here go Egypt, where the 4 rivers meet right here. Hurry up. In Memphis right there. But hold on, here go Cairo. Come on, man. Hurry up. Here go Cairo right here. Cairo, Illinois, where 3 rivers meet. Where's it at? My fault. Cairo, Illinois, where 3 rivers meet. And I'm gonna show y'all where the 4th river is. 1, 2, 3, and this is 4, the Paducah River, because right in the middle right here is central of the world. It's called La Centra. It's where the Europeans said this is the center of the world. Y'all believe me here? I'm gonna show you. I ain't making this stuff up. This is what they said. Hurry up and go to La Centra real quick. They saying it's the center of the world because we know there was the East Egypt, West Egypt, North Egypt, South Egypt. So I'm showing you North Egypt, South Egypt, West Egypt, and all the Egypts over here. How much time I got left? Like 2 minutes? 1 minute?
1 minute.
One land developer, W.P. Payne, may have suggested the name, claiming the new city to be the center of the universe, nigga. Excuse my French. That's where we from. We from over here on some great shit. We from Atlantis. We from Egypt. we from the real pyramids around here. Whatever you put to it, we great. I don't know what else to go with this shit though, man. Like, damn, I mean, what? I said slavery was fake. Show slavery is fake and replaced it with greatness. I digress, man.
You got 58 seconds, 50 seconds left. I
got 50 seconds left. And that's what you call antebellum. See, antebellum was before the war and before we fell. And I showed y'all all our history. I showed it to you. And I can show you the slave pictures right here when it's dealing with the Freedmen's. Hold on, let me go right here to the Freedmen's Bureau. Yeah, when we dealing with the Freedmen's Bureau images, let me see if I still got the images up here. Man, these pictures look beautiful. Oh, where is it at? Here it is right here. See, this is the narration they want to show you that these are slaves. Now, y'all see this city right here behind these places? We had 7 to 8 story buildings being down here that got blown up. See, they don't want to show you the real history. Do you see all of our rivers? They had bricks on them motherfuckers, and you know where they come from. the quarries. We was wonderful people around here. I digress off that.
That's time. We got to get into Chris Harris' third round. Last round, you guys. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. Hold up, Chris Harris. Go ahead. You got it. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you start speaking, I start your time. I don't see a screen neither, though. Shout out to Chris. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. Let's get into his round, y'all.
Or another. I want to show everybody something. He mentioned a Freedmen's Bureau, right? Bureau, excuse me. But maybe he should go to Educator Resources and learn what a freedman is and what the Freedmen's Bureau was all about. And let's just read this. And it says, as the Civil War ended, Congress established the Bureau.
You're not screen sharing. You're not screen sharing, brother. My bad. You know, I'm pausing your time too, so you're good. But no, you're not screen sharing, brother.
Can you see it?
No, sir. Give it a second.
You know what? It's on the wrong. My bad.
I know what's going on. It's all good.
Yeah. I told you it's gonna be hard to navigate between two channels like this. You know what I'm saying? All right. So once again, I think people like this gentleman here, they should learn how they should read first before they open up their mouth. The Freedmen's Bureau, and thank you for using that because I would have went here eventually. I forgot to go here. It says you use this. The Freedmen's Bureau, as the Civil War neared its end, Congress established the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, better known as the Freedmen's Bureau, inside the War Department. Now, this was all part of Reconstruction, but let's see what a freedman is. The Freedmen's Bureau provided assistance to tens of thousands of formerly enslaved people and impoverished whites in the southern states and the District of Columbia in the years following the war. It helped freed people establish schools, purchase land, locate family members, and legalize marriages. The Bureau also supplied necessities such as food, clothing, operated in hospitals and temporary camps, and witnessed labor contracts between freedmen and plantation owners or other employers. Funding limitations and deeply held racist attitudes forced the Bureau to close in 1872. African Americans were largely abandoned to contend on their own with persistent racial attitudes and discrimination. Many continued to work for their former masters as sharecroppers or tenant farmers in a vicious cycle of debt peonage. So they were serfdom people. This is what happens to a slave. He becomes a serfdom. That's what a serfdom is. You don't understand what it is that you're reading here. I also heard you say slavery is us living in castles. What the fuck? Are you serious? You're embarrassing, dude. You'll say anything at this point. I mean, there's nothing I could really go off of to argue with you with. And I'm cussing because I'm going to cuss. It needs to be said. You did nothing but produce a red herring. And then you said you digress. You're producing a red herring and telling everybody I'm off topic by saying I digress. I keep telling everybody that's what that means. You use it incorrectly, just like you use definitions incorrectly, just like you use your sources incorrectly, just like you came into this debate incorrectly. I told you before this debate, your best chance at performing or winning this debate was just to hush. Therefore, you can say, I never said that. What is a red herring? Let me remind everybody. A red herring is a fallacy, a logical fallacy that involves introducing irrelevant information to distract from the main topic of a conversation. Let's do a quick synopsis of everything you mentioned here. Witchcraft, that's fake. Witchcraft don't exist. It's irrelevant to this discussion. Greek is irrelevant to this discussion. Moors, that's irrelevant to this discussion. What else did he mention? Some stuff about we were always here and him being an Indian, yet they give us no tribe, no primary sources on anything, no primary sources on slavery being fake. But in fact, you did agree with me. What do we have here? A bunch of nothing. It's been a waste of my time here. I've been proving to you all with primary sources, things surrounding the enslavements of African Americans in this country, right? And this is what you all do. You aren't going to be the only one do it. Everybody that's an abo does this. You are just the lowest tier that I've ever spoken with. Here, let's do this for us. Let me do this right here. Right? And let me give you some literature to go study. This is a text. This is Governor Hammond's letters on Southern slavery addressed to Thomas Clarkson. Who's Thomas Clarkson, you may ask? Thomas Clarkson was an English abolitionist, right? So you got these people arguing over slavery and the inhumane treatment of brothers, right? Let's see what it says. Let's read it for a little bit here, right? And he says, this is Silver Bluff, South Carolina, January 28th, 1845, primary source. I don't do like Dane Calloway and start inserting false lore. Shout out to Sean P. Not a coincidence. Black intelligentsia, we in the building. Let's get a primary source here. Another one. Wow. Right? All you got to do is read. And it says, sir, I received a short time ago a letter from Reverend Willowbury M. Dixon, dated at your residence, Playford Hall near Ipswich, November 26, 1844, in which was enclosed a copy of the circular letter addressed to professing Christians in our northern states having no concern with slavery. And to others there, I presume that Mr. Dickinson's letter was written with your knowledge and the document enclosed with your consent and approbation. I therefore feel that there is no impropriety in addressing my reply directly to yourself, especially as there is nothing in Mr. Dickinson's communication requiring serious notice. Having abundant leisure, it will be a recreation to me to devote a portion of it to an examination and free discussion of the question of slavery as it exists in our southern states. And since you have thrown down the gauntlet to me, I do not hesitate to take it up. Familiar as you have been with your discussions of this subject in all aspects and under the excitements it has occasioned for 60 years past, I may not be able to.
Hold on. I don't know what you're reading from, but we don't see it. It's still on the red herring fallacy. So if you was reading something and was trying to screenshot it, we don't see it, Brother Chris.
Okay, let's go here again. Yeah, this is this is becoming a problem.
No, I paused your time, so you're good. You're good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here we go. Let me hit share. Thank you. All right. So here it is. Governor Hammond of Georgia is writing a letter here to Thomas Dickinson, right? And let me continue to read it here. And it says, let's continue. Let's start. He said, having abundant leisure, it would be a recreation to me to have a devote to devote a portion of it to an examination and free discussion of the question of slavery as it exists in our southern states. And since you have thrown down the gauntlet to me, I do not hesitate to take it up. Familiar as you have been with the discussions of the subject in all aspects and under the excitements it has occasioned for 60 years past, I may not be able to present much that will be new to you, nor ought I to indulge the hope of materially affecting the opinions you have developed facts, constantly furnishing fresh tests to opinions formerly 60 years since, and continually placing this great question in points of view which could scarcely occur to the most consummate intellect even a quarter of a century ago. I want to come down a little bit, and he says, while there are particularities in the operation of every social system and special, local, as well as moral causes materially affecting it, which no one placed at the distance you are from us can fully comprehend or properly appreciate. Besides, it may be possibly a novelty to you to encounter one who conscientiously believes the domestic slavery of these states to be not only an exonerable necessity for the present, but a moral and humane institution. That's what he's saying. He's a devil, productive of the greatest political and social advantages, and who is disposed as I am to defend it on these grounds. I do not propose, however, to defend the African slave trade. That is no longer a question. Doubtless great evils arise from it as it has been and is now conducted. You can see this is a primary source. It's old, and it says unnecessary wars and cruel kidnapping from Africa. Okay, you're done. You're done. This is what he's writing here. You can argue about boats all you want.
6 minutes and
you can do whatever you want. He's saying these people come from Africa. All right. We're not going to argue boats. We're arguing the system of an inhumane treatment of individuals. It's called slavery. This institution argument that you make, institution also means a practice, law, or custom. I don't even understand that type of logic that you're coming with. Let's take a look at what else he says. He says unnecessary wars and cruel kidnapping in Africa, the most shocking barbarities in the Middle Passage. He even mentions the Middle Passage, and perhaps less humane system of slavery in countries continually supplied with fresh laborers at a cheap rate. The evils of it, however, may be fairly presumed are greatly exaggerated. And if I might judge of the truth, the transactions, I can't read the rest, it's cut off. Transactions stated as occurring in this trade by that of the reported as transacting among us, I'm assuming that's what it says. I should not hesitate to say that a large portion of the stories, it's cut off, unfounded, and most of the remainder highly colored. So here it is. He's discussing the African slave trade. He's discussing the brutal, the barbarity of it. He's saying how evil it is. But he's saying, I'm not going to stop doing it because it also gave them political and social advantages. It was free labor in the South. The people in the South got fat and rich, while the North was becoming industrialized. Not to mention you had the abolitionists in the North that were also petitioning certain congressional leaders that were in the North also. This is how the Civil War started. All right, let's go here. Not the Freedmen's Bureau. I want to go here to the Massachusetts Constitution and the abolition of slavery. Because see, these people are fighting for something.
Before we go any further, man, we want y'all to hit the thumbs up, like the video, subscribe, share. Man, if you subscribe to the channel, go back in, make sure you get all the notifications. You dig what I'm talking about? Hit the bell again and get all the notifications, man. We watching a good one between Chris Harris and Rootword, and boy, oh boy, This nigga Rootword is getting his ears boxed in. I just got to be real. I'm calling it how I see it. And the crazy part is I believe in Chris Harris's, that slavery was real, but yet I'm rooting for Rootword. You dig what I'm talking about? But so far, I got Chris up. You dig what I'm talking about? But we're going into the question round. Chris gonna finish his third. We're going to the question round. The question rounds is so important, right? Because you could lose the actual rounds and then switch everybody's whole thought process, it with the questions. You dig what I'm talking about? Because if he can't show that anybody was being raped and all that, like if he can't show, you know what I mean, that any of these so-called slaves, or I don't know why Rootword didn't just show that these Negroes were white. I'm just saying. Why wouldn't you just show that? The people that Negro means slave. So why wouldn't you just show that many of these people put in them same slave narratives and are described as pale skin, blonde hair, and blue eyed. You dig what I'm talking about? So what Rootword is saying is in fact in many parts actually true, but it's not for this debate. And he didn't come with his point clearly, or but he could turn it around. Let's go.
Right. Let's see right here. In 1780, when the Massachusetts Constitution went into effect, slavery was legal in the Commonwealth. However, during the years from 1781, let me share this tab, and let me share this tab instead. Here it is. It said, in 3 related cases known today as the Quock Walker case, the Supreme Judicial Court applied the principle of judicial review to abolish slavery. This is the Massachusetts Constitution and Abolition of Slavery in 1780. This is from Massachusetts.gov. Do we have a primary source? Let's see. We're going to go down to see if we got some primary sources. We're going to go to the Mum Bet case here. And it says in 1781, Berkshire County case of Brom and Bet v. Ashley versus Ashley, often referred to as the Mum Bet or Elizabeth Freeman case. We know what a Freeman is now. Was unique because it occurred less than 1 year after the adoption of the Massachusetts Constitution, and because in contrast to prior freedom suits, there was no claim that John Ashley, the slave owner, had violated the specific law. This case was a direct challenge to the very existence of slavery in Massachusetts. During the 1770s, Mum Bet was a slave in the household of Colonel John Ashley of Sheffield, a prominent citizen who at the time served as a judge of the Berkshire Court of Common Pleas. Let's continue because we got a primary for all of this. In early January 1773, Ashley became a moderator of a committee of 11 local citizens, including attorney Theodore Sedgwick, that wrote a document known as the Sheffield Declaration. Do we have a primary for this? Within 3 minutes that I got, yes, we do. Here it is right here. Here is the primary document that has been translated. Of course, we're going to go back and we're going to finish reading it, see what happened in this, right? And it states right here that quote, end quote, let's finish. It's according to the later stories told about Mum Bet, her freedom suit was prompted by her overhearing dinner table conversations in the Ashley home about the new promises of liberty made in the Sheffield Declaration of 1773. Other reports suggest that her suit was prompted when Bet's mistress, Miss Hannah Ashley, attempted to strike Bet's sister with a hot shovel, but struck and burned Bet when she intervened. Bet fled. When Ashley sought to reclaim his property, Bet reportedly sought help from prominent local attorney Theodore Sedgwick, who had often visited the Ashley home and was clerk of the committee that had drafted the Sheffield Declaration. As historian Zimler notes It is also possible that a group of prominent residents of Berkshire County selected Elizabeth, a Negro man, Brom, who was associated with her suit, in order to determine whether or not slavery was constitutional in the United States after the adoption of the new Constitution, right? So we have the writ of replevin, right? And it goes into, in this writ, it talks about how she won her case and how she was declared to be a freeman now. Her and the man, they were both considered freemen after the case was over. Do we have primaries for that? Yes, we do. We also have the verdicts for them here, right here in this letter right here, according to court legislator. What legislation? What is a primary source? Any court document dated to August 22nd, 1792. And this is what it says. Ashley appealed to the Supreme Judicial Court, but abandoned his appeal several months later. The timing of his decision suggests that Ashley may have determined that an appeal was futile following the first ruling of the Supreme Judicial Court in Walker case, see below. Now, it says right here, upon her death in 1829, Mombet was buried in the Sedgwick family plot in Stockbridge. Her gravestone includes the words, "She was born a slave and remained a slave for nearly 30 years. She can neither read nor write. Yet in her own sphere, she had no superior or equal. Her tombstone stands in the innermost circle of what is known as the Sedgwick pie." So here it is. She won her freedom, albeit she was born a slave. We have the primary sources for that. I want to go back to my presentation quickly here as we begin to wind this thing down. Now, I've showed you guys agree with me, but I want to go to the proclamation of amnesty and reconstruction because this is important. It says on December 8, 1863, President Lincoln. Cool. I can use that in my class.
Tom, big brother. Tom. All right. And Rootwords, you got a 5-minute rebuttal. And then we're gonna get into the question and answer round. That was the end of Chris Harris' third fire round from both of you brothers. Chris, Rootwords, you want to get ready to get into your rebuttal round? You got 5-minute rebuttal. Whenever you're ready. Where is Rootwords?
I'm right here.
All
wow.
Right,
you don't get a song real quick? Well, okay.
We'll do a quick.
Let me get a water break, man. Let me take a water break. He can take a water break.
Go ahead, do your thing. Well, y'all gonna get a water break in just a second too. In between, before the question and answering round, y'all do have 20 minutes of that round, so I want to at least give y'all a little break for that. But let's get into your 5-minute rebuttal, though. Go ahead, Root.
Okay. I had a job to do. To come in here to prove is slavery true, is slavery false. I had a job to do to see if this man could say anything about the institution of slavery. I had a job to do to make sure that I just didn't go against slavery, that I filled in the voids the best way and why they brought slavery to the table. Now, what I tried to do is show people my first round that I did it informed, and I think I did it kind of scholarly. Whether a person agreed with my information or not, I showed people that my first round is going to be on language, witchcraft, and reconstructed history through word spells. Then I was going to separate the word slave from all them other words, any other word you're talking about. Because slavery is dealing with murder and kidnapping and rape and blah, 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 and smacking and breeding and cutting families off and just telling the men to go over there and cook some food. And then I showed you there's no such thing as the institution of slavery unless it's this in the book, unless it's the book they hand you. They gonna hand you a book. That's the institution of slavery. I told you in every round we're gonna show you the institution of slavery. A book we hand you from them in the English language. Here go this book. Read it. That's witchcraft. And then my second round, I plainly showed. Well, in my first round, I showed y'all that a serf, a slave, a Negro, a black, a chattel is a servant. They're serfs. They're not the same as slaves. I showed it. Slavery is kidnapping, killing, raping women and men, breeding slaves, separating families, torture, and you can't get paid. So I separated them right there. Now you got to show me the story of that because I showed all the. Hold on, make sure I go to this. My second round. Where is my second round at? Okay, my second round. I show people like, what do you need to have? He's in the military. You need to have like a military plan and a force to kidnap people and enslave them. You need a force of forces. So the manpower, like I showed y'all, that Portugal and Spain is very small. They could not take over no lands because they're too small. They would run out of men, like Germany did up there in Russia. He just ran out of too many men. It just wasn't that big enough, buddy. They can't do it. And then I showed y'all that when they talk about the 1441s, man, look, y'all 50 years off. I'm showing this stuff, like I'm showing. This is like my 14th subject I touched already because I touched 8 in the first, I touched 6 in the first round, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is my 13th subject I touched. But you know what I'm saying? I showed that, you know what I'm saying? Come on, slavery could never be around. The whole foundation is fake. It was the Moors around then. So the story of Portugal is just fake. The story of Spain is just fake. It just wasn't them. It was the Moors. Then I showed you guns wasn't around. Like, come on, man. They had click bang and had to go shove something in it, man. That's the 14th, that's the 13th goddamn subject. Then I showed that it was slaves slower or not, or could they fight? So I showed you that these people had to be military ready to snatch us up and grab us and fight us and everything. Then I went to like the 16th subject. You know what I'm saying? Like boats, where was they made at? I didn't show the time travel from Africa to America because I accidentally turned it off, but it takes a month to 3 months to get from America to Africa at the bottom of a boat with 300 people. I showed y'all there's 200 to 300 people on the boat at the bottom of it for 2 to 3 months. Then I showed you that the Catilda story is fake. They stopped importing slaves in the narratives in the 1800s, but they said the Catilda was around in 1850. I can't believe he brought that to me. The story is fake. Every story I'm showing y'all has a 50-year miscalculation. The story is malfunction. Then I showed you the pictures of slaves. Like, them is pictures. Them ain't real paint. I mean, them is paintings. Them ain't pictures. Then in my third round that I went to, I mean, Jesus, I showed you that, look, man, I'm a reconstruct the history. I'm a reconstruct the history. Showing that we're the Atlanteans that failed, that they called motherfucking the South. Showed you the submarine floating off in Charleston that was sitting right next to a Roman building. Then I showed you Rome, Greece, Egypt. Then I showed you all the black inventors. Why ain't there none in Africa? Then I showed you the plantations that the so-called Moorish black Indians stayed in. Then I showed you all the old world structures and everything, you know, all around here. Then I showed you the industry. I didn't show you the river, though. We got a wonderful river around here. Oh, my God. It's one river, only one river in America. It's just a marvelous Indus River. Showed you the industries of America. Showed you the so-called 2 cities that was floating. You floated inside your cities. Floated inside of them. Then showed you that the Vatican, thanks to Ad Power and A1, the Vatican and
if you enjoying it, drop a fire emoji. Let me know what y'all think, who y'all got winning so far at this particular point. Let me know who you got winning at this point so far. All right, let me know.
That is a good question, but I'm going to hold it off to the end. I'm going to let Chris Harris give his closing round, and then, you know, y'all hit the link and come on in, chop it up with your cousin. We'll talk about what we just seen. All right?
know, let me know. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. It's your brother Original Power, and let's get it. We're gonna play a little jam. So if y'all gotta get something to drink, go ahead and get y'all something to drink, family. Use the bathroom. We'll be right back in a couple minutes. You can ask your questions. Like I said, keep your answers within the 60 to 90-second confinement so we can get through these answering questions. So Root, ask your question and make sure you keep your questions in a reasonable manner within 60 to 90 as well. So let's get it.
Oh, yes. We had a conversation for a long time. We was talking about the institution of slavery. Can you please tell me where you showed the institution of slavery at, sir? I digress.
It's on you to answer, Chris. He might be on a delay. Oh, you want me to screenshot? You want me to show your screen? Is that your only question, Rootwords?
No. If the Moors was around in 1492, how could the Portuguese be around in 1441?
I'm sorry, that's non-sequitur to the debate. The name of the debate was, is slavery fake? Not about the Moors. If we wanted to have a debate about the Moors, we should have asked to debate that.
Okay, is a serf a slave?
Yes, a serf is a condition of a slave. Yes, according to your definition that you even used.
It says slaves can get sold and
next question, Rootwords.
He ain't gonna answer me. I don't know what else to say. If you want to ask me some questions, I don't know what else to say. Let me think. I'll hold my time. If I can hold my time. I mean, I don't know.
All right. Are you sure you want to forfeit your time? You got 3 minutes left to ask your question.
3 minutes. Let me get 30 seconds to think. In the Middle Ages, when it says slavery, it said that they wasn't getting bought and sold. So was that slavery?
Can you give us the date for the Middle Ages, which you never provided? You read a scarce source and you never gave it. You never gave a source on that. As far as the antebellum period, slaves were sold. I showed you plenty of articles and posters that showed slaves being sold. I don't know what type of semantics you're trying to play about the Middle Ages. What are the dates for the Middle Ages?
Somewhere to 1500. Some people say 500. Some people say 800 to 1500. Yeah, I'll show stuff that
slaves. There were slaves.
Go ahead, brother.
Slaves have always existed. Slaves have always existed in every society. Slaves has existed as prisoners of war. Slaves has existed as forms of punishment. So it's just not in the Middle Ages. Now, whether or not they were sold during the Middle Ages is irrelevant to the antebellum slave period, which was going on during colonial America, in which they were brought over here and they were also sold over here also. So different periods necessitated different things or different events.
What is your next question, Root? And you're muted.
I read the definition of slavery. It said it's a bond. Doesn't that mean a contract and a person getting paid?
Okay, so can we stop the time for a minute and let's pull his definition of slavery, please? And can you show me the source of that?
I paused the time. Rootwords, if you would like to provide a source to pull that up, you can. To show bond meaning contract.
Go ahead.
Share my screen.
Okay, I'm showing you.
Here we go. That's etymology. There you go. It says hard work.
It says in the 1550s, severe toil, hard work, drudgery from slavery, the meaning, quote unquote, state of servitude, condition of slave, as I told you. Do you have a better question?
Yes, because when I looked up the word slavery and enslavement, it says the act of being enslaved, slavery, bondage, and servitude. See, there's no where is this of slavery at? Where can you prove any evidence of this right here of slavery? Here we go. Where's the proof of this? Come on now, where you go? Where you at? Where you at, man? You wasting too much time. Where's the proof of this in slavery? I don't want to hear. Where's the proof of that?
All right, we back to your question.
I read it to you.
You got one more question. I'm starting the time back again. Go ahead.
Yeah, where's the proof of all this stuff?
I want to answer the question. I want to answer him. What you gave there was a list of conditions of most serfdom people or slaves. I read to you King Mbenga of the Democratic Kingdom of Congo writing to King Zhao of Spain, in which he asked them to stop kidnapping his subjects. So we have kidnapping in. What you are producing is a generic fallacy by saying all of these things have to happen at one time in order for it to be the enslavement of a people or for a person to be enslaved. That is completely fallacious what you're trying to do there. But I showed you throughout my presentation that people were kidnapped, murdered, hung, stolen, raped.
Okay. That was my last question.
That's it.
All right. Go ahead. Chris, it's your turn to start your questions. You got 5 minutes.
Yes, Rootword. Can you give me the primary source that shows slavery never happened?
Yes, here we go. Right here, slavery. Like what slavery? There you go. What slavery never happened?
Slavery. The name of the debate is slavery fake. Can you show me a primary source, such as a historian or a record keeper, a record keeper, any king that said that slavery was fake? A group of people saying at this time, from the 1600s all the way to 1866, that slavery was fake. Do you have somebody during this time span, that said that slavery was fake and it never existed? Can you show me that person and can we vet him?
Can I turn? Can you turn my screen on?
Yep, I'm putting it on right now. Like I said,
now I'm gonna show you that
your answers within 60 to 90 seconds. Go ahead.
Portugal first slave. And this is going off all of the slave narratives, which is the institution of slavery. They're all got their information in here. When was the first one? In 1444. Now we'll go and see what they were saying the fallacy of this is, since you like bringing up the word fallacy. Let me show you the fallacy of this. Let's just look up the word. Screen on.
Yep. I'm putting it on right now. Like I said, keep
now I'm gonna show you that
your answers within 60 to 90 seconds. Go ahead.
Portugal first slave. And this is going off all of the slave narratives, which is the institution of slavery. They're all got their information in here. When was the first one? In 1444. Now we'll go and see what they were saying the fallacy of this is, since you like bringing up the word fallacy. Let me show you the fallacy of this. Let's just look up the word. Moors, to show you fallacy. It says the Moors fell. The Moors fell in 14. Where does it say it at?
Okay, that's your 60 seconds for the question here.
He got another
next question.
With Grace.
Next question.
I can't even answer my question and showing his
give
fallacy.
Him 30. He got 30 seconds. Grace, go ahead.
All I'm saying is he's a fallacy of the whole story is a fallacy. The Moors and so-called black folks was running this area until 1492, but he's talking about the Spanish and the Portuguese that was around in 1444. So there's a fallacy going on somewhere, a true fallacy, and I digress.
Okay. All right, that's your time. Go ahead. You guys your next. Next question, Chris. Go ahead.
Okay. What it was. All right. Okay. According to a methodology, what I was looking for is a methodology. Can you show me once again someone who is saying that slavery never happened from the colonial period all the way to the Emancipation Proclamation? We are talking about in America. You are in Spain and Portugal. And note, you did not show me anyone saying that slavery was fake. Can you show me someone in the American colonial period from the time of 1600 all the way to 1866, saying that slavery was in fact fake?
Rootword, answer the question. Keep it within 60 seconds and 90 seconds. Go ahead.
Primary source, please.
I got to do
a bunch of rambling.
Hold on, let me show you what he did me.
Come on, man. You're wasting time.
I'm not wasting time. You only say that to him. He did that to me on 2 questions. I got 2 questions where I'm acting just like him.
I answered every question that you asked.
I asked you, could you prove the state of the institution of slavery? And you just went past me, so I went to the next question. So let's go to the next question, brother. Come on, let's just go ahead, bro.
Moderator, did I not answer?
Okay, I'm not going to answer because I don't know the answer, bro.
Moderator.
I can't show you something that I've already showed. How about that, man? I can't show it.
Okay, so according to your answer, you have capitulated the entire debate by saying, no, you don't have the answer. I don't have any more questions for you.
And I asked him for the slave boats and shit, man. That's crazy.
So you have no more questions at all?
Yeah, I can ask him one more. Can you show me your methodology that you use to show everybody that slavery was in fact fake? That these events never happened. Can you show us that now, please? Give him 5 minutes to do so.
Okay, man. Can you show my screen, man? Jesus, man. I just showed my method, man. This is
pull your screen back up.
Man, it's like how you write an essay. This is my method, how you write an essay.
Re-screen share again. You got to re-screen share again.
Jesus, man. Is it sharing? Is it sharing?
Yep. I just put it on the screen now.
Now, everybody in the so-called conscious community, everybody in the conscious community plainly says that these people play witchcraft on us and mind games and MK Ultra and be doing this weird word game and did this contract game. Well, here you go. That's one of my methods. That's one. Then I showed that slavery has to do with felonies, not just people working. Maybe people might like it, might not. That's two. Then I keep asking him, where the fuck is the institution of slavery? And I showed you in a European book that's handed to you through a myth. That's my methodology. Now, and then, you know what I'm saying? I keep showing that now.
Hold on. Right. I ain't gonna lie. This is getting bloody. This is getting bloody. You know what I mean? So for everybody who listening, we just got to watch the debate. It's pretty much the end of the questions. You know what I mean? Drop the link in the chat. Anybody want to come in, come kick it with your cousin. Benny, you welcome to hit the link at any time. Since you saying Demon has holes in his sources, you know what I mean? You can always come and show that we'll never turn down any information. You dig what I'm talking about? But this is getting bloody. I got to be real about it. I don't care if I am an Aboriginal. A win is a win is a win. You know what I mean? And I just compare the information to and I'm going to keep it real regardless. I don't care now whose side I'm on. And if anything was to be said, they would put me on Rootword side. So for the fact that I can just be real about the situation, look at the information and make my own judgment, even though I see what Rootword is saying, I see what he's saying, right? It wasn't explained well in the debate, but that is because he accepted a topic, right? The debate topic was so broad. Now, if the topic had been, is the slave narrative for the Negro in America fake, right? That only Black people in America was the slaves, and that you had to be from Africa, and that you was getting buck broken, and you was doing all that. Well, then, even with the way Rootword debated, he would have lost, but he would have had a way better chance if he was trying to prove the narrative told about American Negroes or the Blacks. I hate that term. you know what I mean, the copper colored people of America, and the slave narrative that has been told to them, you know what I mean? Because our ancestors don't really say that, right? They don't say what they saying. You know what I mean? Our ancestors say something different. You know what I mean? But he wasn't able to prove that. I would have personally just shown that pale skin, blue-eyed, blonde-haired people in the America were called Negroes in the 1800s, right? And many of these so-called runaway Negroes, slaves, right, were pale-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired white folk enslaved on a plantation by a Negro, by a nigger. You dig what I'm talking about? What they misnomer as an Indian, or who has been misnomered as Indian, black, colored, freedman. We done got 10 different names. But you're going to find out, regardless to whatever you think, that the only Africans in the world, or only people who call themselves Africans, are pale-skinned Europeans who have colonized the western coast of Africa, now the northern, western, and southern coast of Africa, America, and Australia. You dig what I'm talking about? This is where the Africans go. The only people who speak the language Afrikaans and call themselves African that live on the African continent are pale-skinned white folks with Dutch and Irish backgrounds. You know what I mean? Them is the people who got brought here in the chains, but Rootwords wasn't able to show that. You know what I mean? He wasn't able to show that. It would have been a great debate if he could have, twisted it around, but nah. I got to be real on this one. Chris Harris smashed cuz. I can't be fake, man. I just got to call it what it is. And if the debate is proving what was fake, Chris Harris showed more that it was real than Rootword showed that it was fake. And I would just keep it as that. You dig what I'm talking about? So, a lot of what was going on, that has been told to us as slavery is actually being a prisoner of war. You know what I mean? And that's what America owes you for. America doesn't owe slaves for enslaving you. So you will never get 1 red cent for being enslaved, whether you were or whether you not, right? You won't get a red cent for it. But for being POW'd on your own land, well, then that's a whole different ball of wax. And for that, you know what I mean? Whether you believe it is a narrative or not, that is going to be why the Aboriginal movement is going to be so powerful coming up in the next 10 to 20 years. You know what I mean? People can feel how they want to feel about it. You know what I mean? But if it ain't you, don't worry about it. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Just keep doing your thing in your own little paradigm, and don't worry about what the other so-called black folks is doing. Just keep doing you. If that's fine with you, keep doing you. There's going to be some other people doing some other things, and don't worry about what they doing or what they saying. You ain't got to come out and spend your whole time online all day trying to debate and, spread your feelings about it just because your ancestor was a slave. You dig what I'm talking about? I don't have any slaves in my family. I've been able to trace at least one line of my family back to 1610 so far right here in America, and ain't found one slave yet. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, man, it is what it is for different strokes, different folks. Or different folks, different strokes. And you got to go back into your genealogy, into your heritage, into your nationality, into your culture, and you need to do the research for you. Nobody's story is going to be what Just Me's story is. We might have some similar parts, you know what I mean, and whatnot. You dig what I'm talking about? But my story is never going to be just me story. Yeah. Well, if y'all was paying attention, y'all go back and go look what I just showed. Just a couple shows ago, I did a whole show on the forgotten cause of the Civil War. Huh? I just did a whole show on it. Huh? Right? This is why they was fighting. Because many of our ancestors owned them. This is why Rootwords is saying it's fake, because the story is actually told in reverse. Nigga, ain't no way you gonna tell me your grandparents is gonna sell your prosperity to the future to ingratiate you to be a citizen of the United States if you was gonna be one of the citizens at the bottom. You wouldn't do that to your children. You dig what I'm talking about? So why would you think yours would do that to you? Something is not right, right? Through war, pillaging, lynchings, and raids. Correct, Bunny Brown. But that makes you a POW, not a slave. You could be enslaved as a POW. Huh? You can be forced to work, but that doesn't take your POW status away. This happened because of war. You know what I mean? Damn. Said Chris Harris got. He said Chris Harris with the 30. You dig what I'm talking about? I ain't mad at that. He said Root got rooted. You know what I mean? Hey, Benny, man, anytime you want to come up here and you want to debate the accreditation versus Jim Dimmons, and we'll see who got real knowledge of the Bible, and you dig what I'm talking about. I'm sure I can. He got more shit you ain't even ever seen. He know more about Bible than you will ever know. He was actually in the Vatican vaults. Have you been there, sir? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You know, before you come talking, talking all barking up that tree with Cosmon, just be warned. This tree will fall on you. You did what I'm talking about? Because I don't say nothing that I can't absolutely 100% show you why I'm saying what I'm saying. Not only totally objectively, but also with empirical data, primary sources, you know what I mean, using the scientific method and logical deduction and what's commonly known, bro. And he was in the Vatican and was a basically a monk. Stop it. He pulls stuff out the Vatican you had never seen. Right? Just because it says something that is not favorable. He didn't make this up. It was already in your Bible, right? It was already in your Bible day one. And now they told you what you can read. They what do you call that? They redacted certain texts and things out of there because it seemed with their plot that they were trying to lay down with this religious ideology that they're trying to force into people. You dig what I'm saying? People would readily see, well, shit, if Nama was all this and Noah wasn't even all the way right, well then, yeah, so they couldn't leave that into their so shout to people like Eusebius. Shout to the ecumenical councils. You know what I mean? These the people who told you what you could even have in your Bible. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, shit. You don't even got what the Ethiopian Bible got in it. You dig what I'm saying? So nigga can't tell me nothing about King James, man. Y'all shit been tampered with day one. You dig what I'm saying? Day one. Even Jesus is speaking Greek in the Bible. Huh? Paul, old fake Saul, came back and said he had a vision. He said Jesus came back to him speaking Greek poets. Yup. He said, Saul, are you not finding it hard to kick against the pricks or kick against the goads? Y'all didn't know that those were Greek playwrights who had died 500 or 500 years before Jesus supposedly ever existed. And when he come back to Saul, or you dig what I'm talking about? Because he ain't even Paul yet. When he come back to Saul, he's speaking Greek, and Paul is supposed to be a Benjamite, but he's speaking Greek to him. Jesus came back. Nobody else seen him, but then he had a story where some people seen him. Then he got another story where nobody seen him, but they heard it. Which one is it? And why is Jesus, who speaks Aramaic, coming back to you quoting Pindar and Escalaus? You dig what I'm talking about? He's quoting Escalaus to kick against the goad, to kick against the pricks. Yeah, they're quoting directly Greek playwrights, Pindar, Aeschylus. Nigga got to tell me why Jesus was coming back quoting that shit. You dig what I'm talking about? You got to show me Jesus even spoke Greek. We know he spoke Aramaic. So, I don't see how people with all these holes in their text get to pointing at other people's text. Real talk. I don't even see how that happened when you got so many holes and flaws in the Bible. Man, you know what I mean? You better be cool. You dig what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Hey, look, I ain't going to keep you that long. I just wanted to show this. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody actually hitting the link, act like they want to come in. So it is what it is. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I'll probably come back a little later. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Y'all support the channel. Y'all share it live, man. I ain't going to keep it too much longer. See if anybody want to come in. If not, we'll come out of here, man. I'll probably bring a little something a little later. And we'll just keep chopping it up heavy. You dig what I'm talking about? As always, man, I just want you to breathe in. Let that light in. Because I'm Cosmine. And I'm out.
And oh yeah, put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feel it when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh,
it's that Japheth, that Chow Mein, that Papa Bull, that Tao Mein, since sunset in the arc of Wayne. My brain moving like Tao Sang, so as above, it's so below. That up and that down thing, this flow is atmospheric. I call that a ground game. See, water is knowledge, so if I'm teaching, you're learning. So how your God make a sun without vortexing and current? See, the pattern is ponic, I'm reaching out for my people. Oh, watch me flow through your speakers, you feel the force of the ether. And when the force gets the equal, I'm taking off like an eagle. Police pop
popped the pastor yesterday for pushing Puerto. My DNA is Moshe. Mix that thing with higher water. My spirit rate is OTN. It's just a higher order. Got more light than Kavita. Rap a lot just like Tila. Went from sinner to saint. Shout out my big homie Sealer. Got more torque than a sports car. Got more work than a door star. And the 4 million I make, I'm giving the Dr. Umar. Oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air. Oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air. Oh yeah. Super 7 in my rites and ceremonies. I'm married to Jehovah, holy matrimony. Confucius say, in the words of Caillou, before you hit the tomb, be a bridegroom. Only got one question for Miss Susan B. On how to last Ahuin is now a Angui. Blame my inspiration, I'm just thinking thoughts. But in the way of God's, we gon' keep it short. Why Jesus wanna kill me, Matthew 10:34. Just a couple questions that I'm needing to know. Oh, watch me flow, it's so potent. Set the vortex in motion. Super 7, I'm floating across the Aegean Ocean. Oh, you a Muslim now, so I guess you make it Salat. Well, I'm an Israelite, I'ma make him at the Shabbat. Got Moses on the bumper, super slap off in my spaceship photosphere. So I stay lit, peace and light to the faith is so yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air. Oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feeling